Guys? Welcome everybody in to another episode of the Living Deadwax podcast. I am your host Ty, and I'm joined by my my moderator, my co-host Tyler. Tyler, how you doing tonight, man?
Not too bad, brother. A pretty eventful night for both of us here. Not too bad. We got it figured out, I think. Little technical difficulties possibly. Might be a little bit better this week. Every week, just little bit by little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna get better and better, and then we're gonna take over the podcast space.
Yeah, the best new podcast going today.
Absolutely.
Let's get all the YouTube stuff out of the way. If you enjoy vinyl related content, music talk, discussion, debate, give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Leave some comments down below about what we're talking about tonight. And main topic tonight is going to be high school records. So I chose this at the end of last episode, high school albums. So albums that we listened to in high school and we probably still listen to today, but that we discovered them in high school. And it's gonna be interesting to see perspectives, and like it was kind of fun to list because a lot of these records I haven't listened to in a long time.
Yeah, samey.
So I did try to do like a decent deep dive into stuff throughout the work week last week, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
So I spent the day listening to do the same thing because I did some back research here on these records. Everything still holds up. I didn't regret any of my initial thoughts whatsoever. Everything still holds up, and these are some of my all-time favorite records of all time, Absolutely.
Of all time, yeah. I don't want to bury the lead here, but I think that goes for a lot of people. I think that those formative high school years, if you're going to get into music, that's usually when you do it.
Yeah, that's when that's when I was the most. I think both of us, we were the most obsessed. Like, we still enjoy music now. We love music and everything else, and like we obviously dedicate a lot of our lives to this stuff, right? But like back then, it was just completely different vibe and attitude and energy that we devoted to it than what we do now. Like now we have more going on, for better or worse. But back then, it was just school and hating it, and then just hopefully trying to find some sort of an escape. And music was that escape. So I think most people probably are the same way, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that, and that those records kind of stick with you, I think, for most people for their whole lives. So it's going to be interesting to talk about that, and we maybe can talk about like changing interests maybe, and just like kind of the advent of streaming, because when we were in high school, streaming, when did Spotify come out? Even
2010, 11.
So this is after
10, 11, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that was that, because I remember Spotify might have been like 08, 09 possibly over in Sweden, because that's where it came from, right? So I remember Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails. I remember him talking about it because I remember Spotify was like a thing that he had as a beta or whatever. And I remember he was kind of, for better or worse, saying this is going to change the music industry, and no one really knew what that meant at the time. But he would talk about it every so often when people would ask him about it, because he's a big tech guy and obviously big music, industry guy or whatever. And so, the day that it came out, I downloaded it. Here in the States at least, I downloaded it, and I've had it ever since. But yeah, it was all iPod. It was all CD rips. It was all shitty MP3 downloads. It was blog spots. It leaked. Something. Yeah. I remember when I had an invite to It Leaked, I was the coolest kid in fucking school. I felt like I had every record I had instantaneously, or I had it a month before, whenever it actually leaked or whatever. That was a whole culture in and of itself, was picking up and trying to find and download all those new records. That was an entire thing by itself. We did not have the streaming possibilities of today back in our day.
No, definitely did not. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to maybe talk about that too. But if you've watched an episode of the podcast before, we always like to do pickups first. I didn't really talk to Tyler. I don't know what he's got. I don't know if he's got anything.
So I don't have anything new, but I have stuff here that I've sat next to my turntable that I've been meaning to get into, or I have listened to. Actually, I've listened to both these records, but they're both new pickups. So first pickup, I got this maybe me and you bought this, I don't know, maybe like a month ago by now. It's been a while. It's been sitting here, but I listened to it. I listened to it like 2 days later, and then I listened to it like last week. But Slipknot, Little Verses Volume 3. So this is This is the record, right? Like, this is the record like your sister would listen
Iowa
to.
Too, though. Iowa's
Yeah, fair. Fair. And I mean, the self-titled, obviously had Wait and Bleed, which I think is probably one of their biggest songs of all time.
Yeah.
But this is the first record that I remember hearing about Slipknot when I was a kid, like a little kid, like I was like 10, 8, 9. And I remember going down a kid on the street. We were playing, and one of the neighbor kids made a password to their clubhouse in the backyard, and the password was Slipknot. And I remember I was 8 years old, I think. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what's Slipknot? And that was the first time I ever heard it. And then later, one of the guys we went to school with, Gabe. Remember Gabe? Everyone knows Gabe. Yeah. So Gabe was a huge fan even way back then. And Gabe was a year older than we were. And Gabe, I think, had the inside tip on Slipknot like 6th grade, like 7th grade for sure. And I remember he would wear the shirts and stuff every other day. He was he's a big drummer or whatever. I just remember that kid, not that we were close or friends or anything.
He used to wear the hoodie.
Exactly. I just remember seeing that all the time with him because he rode the bus. So that was my introduction to Slipknot. And then once, obviously, this record came out, this is the record that Fuse would play the videos for. So once, so basically, so what is it? It's Duality's on this, right? So it's Duality, it's Vermilion, it's Pulse of the Maggots is on here too. Before I Forget is on here too. Blister Exists. Like, there's some pretty massive songs on here for the Slipknot catalog.
6 singles.
Oh my god, man! What are the singles? What did they put out?
A Duality, Vermilion Part 2. Before I Forget, the Nameless. Live version, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that was on the like re-release or something. Then the Blister Exists, which I don't remember that song at all. That was a late single, man. That was 06.
Oh wow.
So I don't even know.
They were still pumping it out.
Interesting.
This is the Rick Rubin record. This is the one where I think Corey has said multiple times that he hated working with Rick Rubin because he didn't do enough, he thought. Because he was not down with him coming in and coming out, and just kind of saying bullshit about different things he was hearing and then leaving again or falling asleep or whatever he was doing. So he was not a big... I think I've seen a tagline, Corey Taylor, I hate Rick Rubin. Like, I think I've seen that tagline, and it's all about these sessions and stuff. And I think this is Corey's first record trying to do it sober. I don't know his whole sobriety history, but I think this is the first. I don't know if it's fully sober or the first maybe big attempt at sobriety for Slipknot. Again, not a huge Slipknot fan, but that record is obviously a big deal, and that's the one I remember. So it's been forever since it was in press, and so they finally put it out early this year. They're putting all the records in press at this point, which is pretty cool, considering they're also on Roadrunner, right?
Yep.
So
they still are
a whole thing. So it took me a while to find that one, and it took me even longer to actually get the self-titled, because self-titled, I actually ordered it, I really want to say February, and I didn't get it until like 2 weeks ago. So
okay.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. I literally forgot it showed up. Oh, I can't, hold on. So I have that, and then
because I think I saw it. I don't even think I've seen that at the store. I don't think we've ever seen.
No, I've never seen either of them at the store. I got both these on Amazon.
No, you got that one at Zia, the volume 3.
Oh, you're right. I did get it at Zia. You're right.
You got it half off actually too.
Yes, I did. I just had I don't know why I just said that, because I just looked at the receipt in there. So I just looked at the receipt, and I have the receipt inside, which is something I started doing. I'd recommend, maybe if people care enough, and I think Ty's starting to do it too, just tuck the receipt in the record. You're not doing it?
All digital, baby. Green.
Okay. That's
every day's Earth Day.
Here at the PWG.
No, I do digital. It's just really? Like automatic. Yeah, it's just automatic. I think I ordered something online. I ordered the Ghost.
And
like the new Ghost record there, the Zia exclusive, and it's just like signed me up.
And you just defaulted into it.
Yeah.
So now that these are coming out here, I've never seen the self-titled in store at all. This is on Piss Yellow. So I know what I said.
Is that looking like that? Go to the doctor.
My piss has looked like that many times. What are you doing? Like, I need to drink some more water. Absolutely.
Yes, dehydrated.
Yeah. Also, this sucks because This went out at a print, at least, or maybe not at a print, but Amazon no longer had this because it came and it was real bent up here on the ends here. Which end is it? It's now I can't even see it. Oh, this end right here. It's real bent up right here, and so there's a crease, and it came pretty messed up. This is the first one that I think I've talked to you about this. Maybe I didn't. This is the first. Maybe I meant to. This is the first terrible Amazon record I've bought. Oh. So this came in a plastic bag. That's all it came in. So like there was no mailer or anything.
Maybe it was a return.
It's possible. That's totally possible. Thinking about that now. Also thinking about this LPN code on the back, that might be what happened.
I think it was probably a return. Because I ordered Halloween Walls of Jericho off Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was a moron, and they're like, "Oh, we have this copy for a little bit cheaper."
Yeah.
But it was still from Amazon.com.
Yeah.
And ships by Amazon, Prime shipping, all that good stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then it also came in a mailer, and that's the one that is completely destroyed. The LP's fine, the record itself, but the cover, everything is fucking destroyed. And that was also in a plastic mailer, and it had like a same Amazon sticker on the back. So I think somebody got it.
Yeah.
Returned it, and they didn't have the LP mailer, obviously. And then, because I don't think any fucking labels sending them to fucking Amazon without an LP mailer.
No, not at all. And they're not sending without, like, so I also bought, you were here for this, but when I finally got him.
No, I've got one that I'm going to fucking prove myself wrong. So,
okay. There we go. Love it. But the Skid Row box set that I bought, you were here for that. When I got the Skid Row box, it wasn't wrapped. It was in a box. It was an LP. It was in a box set mailer. Like, it was cool. Like, the packaging itself was fine. But when I took it out, the everything was just dented up. Like, the box itself was fine, but all the LPs inside, look like they got stepped on. So, and it wasn't cellophane or anything. Yeah, and then the records looked kind of, I think, like okay or whatever. And so I remember I had to return it, and I got what's funny about that is when I returned it and I said this is used, obviously, so if I can get a new one, whatever, I was able to opt for that to be the exchange. But Amazon no longer, at least circa 2 weeks ago, did not have the self-titled in stock any longer, so I wasn't actually able to get a 1-for-1 exchange. They offered other things that I had on my wish list or whatever for some reason, but they didn't have the actual 1-to-1 exchange. And I looked later, and they didn't have it in stock, so that makes sense, I guess. But yeah, so I'm pretty pissed off that I have this. I don't really like taking fucked up LPs if I don't have to, and if this is the only way I'm going to own it. I also paid, like, I think that's not that it's a ton of money, a difference, but I think it's like $26 maybe, and I paid $16 for that in February.
Gotcha.
So,
and you just got it.
I just got it. So they finally got their drop or whatever they got, their inventory, and they sent it out. But I waited forever on it. Like, I had to continually go and opt into, I still want this. Yes, I still want this. Yes, I still want this, multiple times.
I'm curious to see. Excuse me. I'm curious to see what the. Interesting. You can still get them on Discogs for cheap.
Okay.
So if you
I don't think that it's going out of press right now, but I think Amazon just didn't have many or does not or did not have any circa a couple weeks ago.
Gotcha. But yeah, they I remember those records just being a meme record on all the subreddits. Because like people would be playing them on their Crosleys before these reissues. And you don't know if it's a boot. You don't know if it's a boot or an original. And there's originals, or there's like even the 09 pressing. Like the 10th anniversary pressing was ridiculous money.
Yeah.
So
because they never really repressed them more than the one time, I think, of the 09 press. I personally have never seen a copy of that beyond, I think, once. I think me and you saw one at Camelback years and years ago. That might be the only time I ever saw any of those first run Slipknot records in person.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was 09. They did like a t-shirt box set. I'm remembering.
Yes, that's what it was. I was going to say it, but I thought I might have been misremembering.
They did do an original in 99 too, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much is that right now?
US pressing too. They did. Looks like, no, that's unofficial. Let me see. Usually Discogs is pretty good about boots, so
Yeah, they don't boots. That was a whole thing for like 2 years. A whole hell of a lot of Bruce stuff got taken off.
Looks like there's some listed on here. I think this is real because it doesn't say unofficial. They're starting at 180. I imagine that was like 500 plus before the reissues.
Oh, I would safe to assume absolutely.
Yeah,
and Slipknot fans would pay it.
Yeah, can't be many of those floating around. All right, good Slipknot stories. Kind of high school records too. So
there we go. True story.
Let's go with my main pickup here. This just came in. Super stoked to finally get it, have it. This is Number of the Beast.
Nice.
The 40th anniversary.
Just talked about last week.
Yep, Amazon sent this in a box, a giant box, and there was no mailer. So,
wow.
The label did not, the distribution, the warehouse did not put it in a LP.
Just bounced around in there then, maybe?
Yeah, it was fine. No seam splits, no nothing. So just got lucky. Yeah. This is the back, the Beast Over Hammersmith artwork.
That's super sick.
It's very cool. And then the classic, not the original, because the original has a blue background. I have the CD over there. It's got a blue background. This has the black. So not the original artwork. This is the remastered artwork. Wow. So very cool. And this is a 3 LP. You've got the album on 1 LP, and then you have the live show on 2 LPs.
That's sick.
There's one of the inner sleeves, nice write-up by Steve Harris. And then this thing is unwieldy. You got the
That's cool. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, I love that inner. That inner this artwork's awesome.
Is that the Odeon?
Yep. Beast Over Hammersmith Odeon. And the write-up is really cool. Steve talks about Bruce joining the band, talks about making the record and like kind of being unsure of themselves because they're changing lead singers, obviously, and they didn't know how people were going to react to Bruce. I did spin the live show last night, and to me, it sounds great. A lot of people on the Steve Hoffman boards are going ape shit because I didn't listen to Number of the Beast yet, but they don't like that. Apparently, it's the same remastered stuff that they've been putting out for like 10 years or so.
And everybody hates that, right?
Yeah, they didn't change that other than just putting Total Eclipse on. I listened to the live show and it sounds awesome to me. It's such a snapshot in time. It's Bruce's first tour.
Wow.
Also, this show was recorded 2 days before Number of the Beast even came out.
Oh, wow. So it's a completely just virgin crowd.
Yeah, 100%. The only song from that album that people knew was Run to the Hills, because that was the advanced song and had the video was playing and shit on MTV. So that is really cool. Like they play a lot of Number of the Beast on here. Like the title track basically just gets like a decent response.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because that's the biggest song they play. They play every set. I'm tired of hearing it, but they play every fucking set. And it's funny because the intro, the spoken word intro to Number of the Beast, like everybody, when you see Maiden live, everybody says that intro.
Okay.
It is a human number. Its number is 666. And everybody in the crowd says that intro. Nobody does it during this show.
It sounds so weird, right?
Oh, yeah. I have heard this show before because I had a rip of the Eddie's Archive box set. Because this is the first time this show's ever been released outside of that box set. It was never on vinyl. I was unsure until it came. I guess last episode, I think I said I thought it had been released on vinyl, but it hasn't.
Okay.
There's one of the hypes, and for the first time ever on vinyl, Beast Over Hammersmith. So that is really cool to have. And it's been so long. It's been probably over 10 years since I've listened to this show. It sounds really good, man. The band is at just peak form. Bruce fucking nails everything because that's awesome. He hasn't been wailing on his voice for decades and decades years. At that point.
How old is he at that point, you think?
Shit. They're in their 60s now, so they're probably 30s, late 20s.
Probably late. I mean, now it's 40 years ago. I'm 35.
Yeah.
So
No, it's 40. This is
about
40th anniversary.
40. Okay, you're right. Okay. Yeah, lied
So
to you.
yeah, they're probably late 20s, mid to late 20s, early 30s max.
What came out in 86? What a Maiden record? Is Power Slave?
No, 86 is Somewhere in Time.
Okay.
I thought
84,
I think.
Okay. I thought for some reason I thought 86. I thought they were with Rain and Blood and everything. I thought they're not that they're thrash, but I thought that was big metal records in that year. Okay, I lied to you.
Well, Somewhere in Time.
This is so it's fair. Yeah, of which you did last week as well.
Yeah.
But okay, so 40 years. Yeah, they're got to be late 20s, maybe mid 20s, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily look this up, but
yeah, I'm just saying that's insane because they're basically just children.
Oh yeah,
like there's kids, like there's mid 20s, like shit.
Yeah, and they sound just amazing, just ready to fucking take over the world. I'm gonna give Steve props. I forgot how cool fucking Total Eclipse is. It's a fucking cool song.
Yeah.
Gangland's
better than
cool
Gangland.
Song. I like Gangland. So I probably wouldn't have taken it off the original album because it's presented in live form. They play it at the Hammersmith on this show. So I wouldn't have taken it off, but it's still a kick-ass track. Here's the other hype sticker.
Okay.
It's a very
like that.
This is they released like a single LP of this too. Like we've seen it that has this sticker.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's the same sticker, but it's really, really cool. I do want to show the inners as well.
How much was that? 40, 45, 50?
$50, yeah. Might have got a little bit of a discount because they might have put it on sale on Amazon, so it might have been less than 40.
Fair enough.
Here's the inner for the original record. This is the back of the original LP. I have one.
Okay.
Have one back there in the collection. And then you got this. I think this is part of the inner sleeves, just babies.
Not big people, by the way.
No, not at all.
So who are you fucking out of Maiden?
Oh, great.
Who are you fucking? I'm not fucking any of them. Everybody's ugly.
I mean, Adrian. Over here.
You like the blondes. That's what you like. You liked Ellefson. You liked Mustaine too. You're a blonde guy.
I think it's Adrian or Bruce, honestly.
I guess. So, yeah, Steve is gross. So you're not fucking Steve.
Great. I mean, Adrian and Bruce write all the best songs, too. So there you go. Hot take, sort of.
There you go.
And then this is for the live show. Got pictures.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Talks about what they played. I don't know if this is what they played on the show or not. Or this is like what they play. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Got their signatures and stuff.
Have they ever put out there's no DVD of that or anything, right?
There's not, no.
Okay.
And he actually talks about that in the write-up, is that they did shoot it, but he didn't want it. Steve didn't want it released because of the lighting. So he said the lighting looked like shit, and he didn't want to release it. So, and then they're like, oh, we have the audio of the show. And then they released the audio of it like 20 years later in that CD box set. And now we're finally getting the vinyl. So I would like them to release the show just because, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like you have integrity and like I don't want to bastardize my brand, but I mean, at this point, people are going to think it's more cool than anything else.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Awesome. Very cool. Got all the dates there.
That's awesome.
Just fucking road warriors, man. It's funny. You look at tours from this, and then Power Slave just gets more and more.
Yeah.
Power Slave's like double this.
I mean, you think about it, like
road warriors.
There's a reason why they're as big as they are. Like they put the work in. It's obviously they make great records and everything else, right? And that's awesome. But they put the work in for years. So if you're playing basically every night for 2 years on a record, like you're going everywhere twice. That's just insane. So there's definitely a reason why they are as big as they are. And there's a lot of those stories out there, people talking about the Finding Maiden and, everything else. Like they put the work in.
Yes. 1,000%. So that's very cool to have. I enjoyed the cut of the live show. It's very fun to listen to. Such a hungry young band.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm stoked on that. That's my word. I got a few other things. Do you have anything else, Tyler, you wanted to show?
No, you go for it, brother.
Okay. These were actually just pickups at Zia. I've been stopping in at Zia Tuesdays after work just before the show.
Okay.
They didn't have a ton because I think they're holding stuff back for Black Friday.
For Rex Friday. Yeah.
They got some cool stuff in. This is I just kept it cheap too. So this was $10. Deep Purple Stormbringer.
Wow.
So this is Mach 2. I think Mach 2's Coverdale.
Yes.
This is a Coverdale record. I could be wrong. That could be Mach 3. But yeah, $10 in cellophane.
That's awesome.
Record itself looks pretty good too. It needs a good cleaning, but
is that an older press, or is that that's not a Friday or anything, right?
Oh no, because we've seen that Friday one at the Camelback Zia.
Yeah,
and it's no, this is an older. I haven't looked it up in Discogs to see. This record came out in '74, so I don't know if this is a '74 press or not. But yeah, very excited to get that. $10, and then
that's really good price. Like that's insane pricing. Like he's starting to get into more of the purples. It's more of a motivation for you lately, is try to get as many purples as you can from that era, especially obviously. And it's hard to come by those records, man. Like they just get beat up and they get lost to time. And so when they do come in, they're usually a few dollars, more than what you maybe want to spend. But finding one cellophane, even obviously it's not an original press necessarily, but it's older pressing. That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I was stoked on that price for sure. And then the last thing, really, I actually bought a single, so 12-inch single.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Gary Moore and Phil. This is Out in the Fields. This is Out in the Fields, Military Man, which is on Run for Cover. And the B-side is Still in Love with You. So, yeah, this was 5.
That's awesome.
This is from the UK. So,
what year is that?
85.
Okay. So. That's when did Lynott die? He had to die shortly thereafter.
It wasn't much long after, because the record that follows Run for Cover, Wild Frontiers, there's a song on there that he did. There's a lyric in there about Phil.
So that came out in 86, you said?
This is 85.
85. Okay, so he died January 4th, 86.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the last things that he did that got put out for sure.
Yeah, he sings on it. He sings on Out in the Fields, which is a fucking kick-ass song. So very cool to have that too.
For sure.
So just a light week. I got 2 very sort of expensive things coming Friday. The Typo Negative re-releases. So I'm actually kind of interested in that, because I don't know what's going on with those, because I was getting kind of worried, because I think my Run Out Groove pressing of Origin of the Feces is delayed, and they just haven't said anything because it hasn't shipped. And it comes out Friday. So I have the Amazon color that's coming, because I ordered the direct to consumer Run Out Groove. So then I ordered the Amazon one that's, I'm assuming, is going to be in the record stores too. And
I would assume so, yeah.
That ships and is coming. So I'll get that Friday, but my Run Out Groove, they haven't said shit. And I think they're all fucking delayed, because people still haven't gotten their Revolver box sets.
Oh, shit, yeah.
There's people commenting. I looked on their Instagram to see, because sometimes they'll post up, oh, this is delayed or whatever. No posts. But on the actual post, like the announcement, people were still like, where's my other, I'm still waiting on my Revolver box sets. Why are we putting more Typo shit out? And I haven't got my Revolver box sets. And there's some people have been waiting for like a year for those. So I don't know what's going on with that. I think it got delayed. Also, Dead Again, I ordered it from Nuclear Blast. So straight from the label. So that shipped and is coming. I also had a backup ordered on Amazon, and that one is delayed.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm getting it from the label, but not the Amazon copy. And then I went on Zia's website, because usually you can see like, oh, will be available at each store like this date.
Yeah.
And it just says pre-order. So I don't think they're getting any copies, but they do have copies of the long box CD that they're doing.
Oh, that's awesome. They did a long box too for it. That's sick.
I might pull the trigger on that, and they're doing a cassette, which I'm
you're gonna
buy that too.
You're gonna buy all that. Yeah. So don't.
They're one of the only bands I'll buy multiple copies for.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Also, you've been waiting for that shit for so many fucking years.
I've been waiting for Dead Again since we constantly saw the red fucking box set all the time, and I didn't buy.
And now it's a used Civic.
Exactly. Maybe not anymore since they're finally doing the represses, but yeah, man, that thing we saw it all the time, and I think we saw it on clearance too because they usually clearance out the box sets.
Yeah.
So
that was 2011,
maybe, yeah.
Because like it was right before like vinyl kind of exploded for the first time. Yeah. Because like shit would go on clearance quite a bit, like that would get big, like would get released. Like me and you saw the same shit for years that came out 08, 09, 2010, 11. We saw that shit for years. Like we've talked about before, the Job for a Cowboy 10-inch little box that they did. All of our Zia locations, all of our record stores had 2 or 3 copies at any point in time, just on hand. And I think I've ran into that before. And on Discogs, and I think it's money now. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it wasn't money actually, because none of that shit gets repressed. So
oh really?
Yeah. I haven't seen Job for a Cowboy records in fucking years.
Yeah, same these. I don't even know. Are they still happening? Is that still a band?
I don't think so. Yeah, that box set was 08. The record came out in 07. That box set came out in 08.
Wow. Yeah. So we saw that for a good long minute.
Yeah, and it was a collector's edition and had a t-shirt in there, a booklet, a DVD. Yeah. So that sucks.
That sucks. Yeah.
Vinyl regrets. So that's it for pickups. Unless you got anything else to show.
No, I was gonna show so I was gonna show off. Hold on.
What are you looking
I'm trying to find the box set that we're talking about.
Oh, the Typo Negative box set?
No, the Job for a Cowboy box set.
Oh, I can look for it.
Okay. So I found it.
Oh.
I don't think maybe okay. Hold on.
People are still asking $200 for that Typo box set, by the way.
I feel like it's cheap
on Discogs. I don't know. I haven't been following it because I just stopped following it because I was like, I'm never gonna own this record.
Yeah. So. All right, so just offshoot. Job for a Cowboy. We're looking at not a lot of money here. It looks like lied to you, Ty.
Okay.
So the top that it's sold for is $50. It last sold in May. Median is $42, but all the listings now show 110, 128, 510, and yeah. So
yeah, because none of that shit's never going to come back in print. Like, I don't even think they're a band anymore. It's funny because we're talking about high school records tonight, and that was our era deathcore, and there's only like 2 bands from that fucking scene that I know of that still exist.
Who's that?
I know Whitechapel is still around.
Wow.
Fuck. And then there's like one that starts with a B. I can't fucking remember. I know Whitechapel.
Nothing. All right, fair. And you liked Whitechapel for half a second, didn't you?
I was never really into any of that.
Who am I thinking about? Abigail Williams?
Abigail Williams started out as a black metal band. They were from
Phoenix. Yes, I'm trying to figure out where I'm trying to root to what I remember now. But Phoenix was a hotbed.
Coincidentally, I did think they did deathcore shit later.
Okay.
Yeah, I had like the first Abigail Williams CD. their first album.
It's Abigail Williams, right?
That's the name of the band, yeah.
Okay, because I think that's an actress now too.
Abigail Williams is the name of the chick from that's in the Crucible.
Oh, she's one of the witches.
Salem Witch Trials. Yeah, she's one of the people that was sexy.
Is she the one that John Proctor knew?
That she knew him, yeah. I don't. Is that Abigail Williams? Is that Winona Ryder?
I don't know, brother. We're getting weird here, brother.
Is that an actress now?
I'm pretty sure something Abigail something is an actress. Not Abigail Breslin exists, but I think I thought Abigail Williams also exists. I could be lying to you though.
Yeah, Abigail Williams. Abigail Williams was that was the woman that John Proctor knew.
Nice, love it.
And she was not a woman, so I think hopefully they took fucking creative liberties with that movie. She was either 11 or 12 according to Wikipedia. So I hope he didn't know her.
All right, settle in, kids, for like junior year language arts. I think that you read the Crucible, or sophomore year, something like that.
I mean, we did the play. We did the play in high school.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I remember that.
That was the very last thing I did. Yeah, senior year, directed it.
Ty's directing career.
Yeah, man, killed it.
You did do all right. I'm not gonna lie to you. You did do all right. You had a few things that I enjoyed, that I went to. I spent my money on, and I enjoyed them. Because you're my buddy.
Hell yeah.
And they were good. Yeah, I mean, you got a cut of that money, right?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you buy the house? That's how you bought the house.
Yeah. Fucking points. I got points on it.
All right.
All right. Let's get into the main topic. So as we discussed before, high school records. So I'm excited for this. So Tyler, just kick us off. I chose, first of all, I think 11, and I'm gonna choose like top 5, I guess. So, but
okay. So I chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll pill some of these out. Okay, I'll do that. All right. So first one, I'll bring up. So I think this is my next to Miley Cyrus Bangers Rexford Day edition, which is like $800.
Holy shit!
I think we bought that together. We had to have, or whatever. That was years ago. So that's the most expensive record I own, single LP record that I own, or whatever. Or you know what I'm talking about. I buy box sets and shit, whatever. Anyway, so that was like $800. This is my next most expensive current record that I have in my collection. This is AFI's "Sing the Sorrow." This is on this original pressing. They booted it last year, which is horse shit. They booted it last year. This is an original pressing on red. They did an original pressing of this back in 2003. They were on DreamWorks back then. So this is DreamWorks vinyl. Wow. DreamWorks, Nitro, and Adeline. So it was they had all of them on here.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Dexter had to talk to him from Offspring, and Billy Joe had to talk to him from Green Day. So that's interesting.
What does he have to do? What is
Adeline is Adeline's Billy Joe's label, I believe.
Oh. I thought you were going to say DreamWorks or something. I'm like, oh.
No, DreamWorks is separate. So they put out the vinyl, I guess, or whatever, but DreamWorks was their major label. So anyway, Sing the Sorrow. This is the biggest record. I don't know, biggest record. December Underground was also very, very big. But this is the one that has to me, all the mainstream hits on it. I love all their records. I'm a huge AFI fan. But this is a one-time press of 10,000. They've never repressed it. They've never wanted to repress it. That's been a thing that fans have been dying for forever. And they've never done it. And they don't want to do it because they like the idea of having collectibles among their fan base. So these will now sell for 500 plus, even during bootleg seasons.
Oh my God.
Just insane. But this is Girls Not Gray, Leaving Song Part 2, Silver and Cold, Dancing Through Sunday. I love that song. It's so sick. there was a live video that I had loaded onto my video iPod from like a Fuse set or something or other from that era, and I would watch it constantly in class every day at school. It was the coolest shit. I think Dance Through Sunday is my favorite songs ever. Miseria Cantera, the beginning, that was CM Punk's intro theme for like the tail end of ROH, I believe.
Oh wow, gotcha.
Yeah, he did that, and then yeah, everything on here is just so super sick. I love this record to death. It's not my favorite AFI record, but it's definitely the high school record for me. I didn't get deeper into AFI until later in high school, but this was my obsession from basically 8th grade on and all throughout high school. And I remember the girl that introduced this to me. I remember thinking she was so cool. She was so like gothy and punky and rocky or whatever. And she introduced this record to me on Fuse with those videos, and I just remember being captivated. But it all worked out because they were a fucking amazing band, and I love them to death.
Gotcha. So 04 that came out?
03.
03. Okay.
Yeah. And then they're doing a 20-year date at the Forum in LA in March, I believe.
That's all they're doing. Just one.
Yeah. They literally are advertising it as a one and done. Like the first and last time they're ever going to play the record, which is insane because
if real,
they're not repressing their vinyl. Like December Underground is also like, bro, all of their shit is expensive. So the Nitro records, they don't have control over those, but the Nitro records got to press semi-routinely, and they'll do like $80-$90 and they'll come back and then it'll kind of cycle over. But the major label records, so DreamWorks was Sing the Sorrow, and then December Underground I think was Interscope, and I think they got gobbled up or whatever. And that's also never been repressed again. They did a 7-inch box set and they did a one-time 12-inch LP, and that's $300-$400. The next record, Crash Love, that is like $300-$400 or $200 or so. Like they don't repress their shit. So like the newest records, they're not super expensive, but they'll get there because they're never going to get them again. So like AFI fans, they're heavy hardcore. Like I've been very lucky in that so that record right there, I think right now is like $400 or $500 all day. And I spent $100 on it from my buddy Dane. I bought it from like 12 years ago, like just forever ago. And I got really lucky there. And then I think I've seen it twice since then at Zia, once for like $110 for a super beat up copy that I should have bought. And I think I saw it again for like $160 at one point for like an okay copy.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Bands that just have an aversion to easy money.
100%, because that's all that is. They could do that tour and tour that record for even though they did just a run, just a 10-date, 12-date run, or whatever, do that record. Those are all sold out. They could play healthy venues and sell those out instantaneously. Not that AFI is ever, hurting or whatever, but they could sell those out pretty quickly, and they just have a rabid fan base. But that was an obsession in high school. Love it. Love the videos. Love all the songs. Would recommend checking it out if you haven't already. AFI, Sing the Sorrow, 2003.
Good choice. All right. My first choice, I'm going to go with All That Remains. The Fall of Ideals. This is 06. This is the Craft Recordings pressing. This is the 15th anniversary pressing.
Nice.
Of it. That came out last
So you just
year.
got that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is new. I think they did a record store day. Like it might have been a record store day first.
Okay.
But All That Remains, metalcore band from Massachusetts, that whole scene with Killswitch, they know all those guys. This is actually produced by Adam D.
Oh, nice.
This record, how I was introduced to this is they played Ozfest 06. So there's going to be a lot of records in here from that time period because I love those fests, those touring fests, Ozfest, Mayhem, Warped Tour, if you're into the more Tyler stuff, because like you saw those bills and you're like, oh, I don't know that band. So you would seek that shit out.
Yeah.
At least I would. So I would try to seek out and know the band before I went, to see, or okay, this band's worth seeing, or let's walk around during this band or whatever.
Yeah.
So this record came out in 06. They toured Ozfest on it. To me, it's their best album. They're still doing their fucking thing. The album after this that came out in 08 is really cool too. But this record really got me into the band. And it's still really fucking good, man. If you're into metalcore, it's that type of music, just like Killswitch. A little bit different, feels different register voice than Howard or what's the fucking guy in the band now? What's his fucking name? That was in the band
Jesse.
before. Jesse, yeah. So yeah, but really kick-ass band. If you know Killswitch, you kind of know the sound. Still really enjoy this record. And I love Phil. He's a really cool dude. Yeah. So follow my deals. All that remains. Really fun to have
love
this.
That. I remember because so you're 15 then at Ozfest, right? That year.
Yeah, 06. Yeah, that was like going into sophomore year. So probably 15, 16 maybe.
That's basically that's prime, just wanting to suck everything in as much as you can, just absorb it. That's prime then, especially like you were much more in because you went with your brothers, you went with Colin, Josh, and Dan, right? I assume, and you're much, maybe Dan, I don't know, maybe, but you're much more in tune with what was happening in that moment. So I imagine you definitely wanted to know everything that was happening at that fest you went to. Especially growing up the way we grew up, we didn't go to many concerts or festivals or anything like that. So when you did go to one in high school and you became a little more adultish, that was the shit, and that was everything in your life.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot. I mean, it's a lost art. I mean, we kind of have those destination fests now in the States, but
no tour anymore.
Sort of, but yeah, there's none that tour, and I get why. Like, it's probably not very profitable, obviously, anymore.
I think the whole thing is they lose money every year.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what Sharon always said. So
yeah, I think Kevin Lyman, he did Warped and Taste of Chaos and
he did Mayhem.
And Mayhem too. He said the same thing. I think he was lucky if he broke even, or the tour did, obviously broke even every year. But I wish they bring that shit back too. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, just a lost art for him. Very cool record, man. Cool to own. If you're into metalcore, check them out.
That's awesome. Love it. All right, so I'm just kind of bumping through here. Okay, so we went to high school in 2005 through 2009. That was our high school years, right? So, unfortunately, this band did not exist for our entire high school career. And I hate it so much because they're one of my favorite bands of all time. They broke up at the beginning of 2005 and our 8th grade year, and they had just made one of my favorite records of all time, and that is Blink-182, the Untitled record. So at this point, entering high school, I was absolutely obsessed with Blink-182. Like, I had been obsessed since 4th grade, maybe 3rd, 4th grade, and it never stopped. I mean, now I'm pretty lukewarm on most of what they do, to be honest with you. But in this time, completely obsessed. And this is my favorite record. They came out in 03, November, I think, of 03, I believe it was. I went and bought it that night at Target. And I remember buying the CD. My mom bought it for me that night. They were all sold out. I found the last one, not in the Blink-182 section. I found it somewhere else. Somebody put it down. And then I remember sitting it up, and I went, while my mom went and shopped over, I sat it up on the, because I went and played PS2, as you do. And I sat it on top of the controller thing, whatever. And I was playing whatever I was playing. And I remember a guy walked by and tried to take it. And because they were all gone, and he saw that one that I had, and he tried to take it. And I was like, "No, it's mine, man." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't know, whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So he almost snaked me. But I've been obsessed with that record since then, even still today. It's one of my favorite records of all time. And they broke up our entire high school career, so I didn't have my favorite band making new music throughout that entire time. I did throw myself into Angels and Airwaves and Plus 44, and I was already into Boxcar Racer and stuff from previous. But I remember just throwing myself into those bands as hard as I could. Like, I was obsessed with Angels and Airwaves. I had many shirts and everything else and everything, crazy shit, right? But they never, for my money, they've never topped this record. So I love it. I have multiple copies of it here, but this is the first pressing out of 500 on Mightier Than Sword. This is the Hot Topic, I think, from 2010, 2011. It's the splatter,
That's cool.
The green, clear, and red and pink, whatever splatter. So all of these records are money now, which is pretty crazy. All of them. They don't have a cheap press of this right now, I think, happening. But everything on this record, top to bottom, like legitimately would never skip a song on here. Feeling This was the first single. I was obsessed with that. Obvious is so cool. Everything is just heavy. There, it's much more of like an emo sound, like a 90s emo sound. Very Fugazi like influence and everything else, and like just super sick. The best writing they ever did. There's no joke songs on this. It was a new era for the band, obviously, and they were one of the biggest bands for a quick hot minute. They were one of the biggest bands in the world, and they played arenas and they were selling them out, and they played all over the world and everything else. And it was the era where American Idiot came in a year later in 04, and just, you know, obviously they put out 8 singles or some shit and had massive, you know, everything, and have a Broadway show, and had a second fucking wind here, a third wind with their fucking careers, right? Yeah. But yes, but for my money, this was the better record. They're the better band. I love Blink forever. And obviously everybody already knows the record. If you're a Blink fan or a pop punk fan or whatever, this is classic rock at this point. But Blink 182, Untitled, completely obsessed. Still today, would put it on every day of the week and not get sick of it. Love it to death.
My first exposure to that record, I don't know if I saw the I Miss You video first, or I'm almost positive my first exposure to anything off that record was Feeling This was on Madden 05.
Wow, yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think because Madden 05 came out in 04.
Okay.
I think. Or maybe Madden 04.
Yeah.
That record came out in 03.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, might have been Madden 04 then. I think Madden 04 was the one with Vic on the cover.
Okay.
That, and then 05 had Ray Lewis. But I think it was 04. Am I right on that? Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up right now. So
okay.
So the record came out in November of 03, like I said. And then so
it's Feeling This on
Feeling This. That's the first single. And then let's see here.
See if my memory is correct. But anyway, I think that was my first exposure to it, hearing that on that. And then obviously I knew who Blink was because I know, you know, obviously I know Enema front to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, this is a kick-ass song. And then I remember seeing the video for Feeling This. So maybe I saw the video and then that first, and then I saw the I Miss You, if Feeling This was the first single.
Madden 04.
Okay. Yeah, Vic was on the cover, right? Hell yeah.
I mean, back-to-back murderers, by the way. So different ways or whatever, right?
Yeah, very
okay.
Different.
So at that point, I already knew this. So you heard so Madden 04 is with Vic. That is correct.
Hell yeah.
So now I'm gonna do this. So give me 1 second. Hold on. So that came out in August of 03. Okay. So they had not settled on the track name being Feeling This. At the time in the game, it was called Action. Because if you recall that song, like Let's Get Ready for Action, that's the first little sound bite of that song. Yeah. So they named it Action, and that's the only time it ever appears as Action, to my mind, is in that Madden game, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
By the time the record came out 2 months later, he changed the name.
It's funny, yeah, because I've always known it by Feeling This, so that's interesting. But yeah, I remember that video. Obviously, the I Miss You video, and then what was the other big video?
Always,
yes, that was another big video. Yeah,
and they were gonna have a fourth one with all of this. Was gonna be the fourth single. That's with Robert Smith from The Cure, and they were gonna have what's his name? Sixth Sense, the guy,
Bruce Willis.
No. No, the director.
Oh, M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan was going to do the fourth one.
Oh, he's going to direct the video? Gotcha.
He's going to direct the video, yeah.
That's a very Tom DeLonge.
So, actually, it was going to be the fifth single because Down was also a single. Yes, so that would have been the fifth one. So there you go. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a fucking classic record. I've never really thought about that they weren't a band when we were in high school.
They got back together. They broke up right before we went to high school, and they got back together right as we were leaving high school. Literally, they got back together like maybe 2 weeks before we graduated.
Yeah, when did Neighborhoods come out? 2010?
2011?
10.
Yeah, 10.
2010?
Yeah,
I like Neighborhoods quite a bit. But
you do like Neighborhoods a lot. That's funny because I don't give a shit about that record. I mean, there's spots on there that I'm cool with, and whatever. But for the most part, that is my 2011. That is September 2011. That's my most hated Blink record if we're not counting the new ones with Skiba. So I also don't like those records either. But that Tom record, that's my least favorite Tom record.
Gotcha. All right.
Now we're getting a new one. So
you win some, you lose some. Yeah, got a new one to judge. All right. Yeah. Moving on here. Let's keep it in the same vein as what I did before. We'll keep it in Massachusetts, and we'll go Killswitch.
Knew it was coming.
The End of Heartache. This fucking record, man. This record came out it was 04. That's what I have in my notes. Yeah, this is the Run Out Groove pressing that just came out maybe last year, I think. Yeah, I think last year. But Killswitch Engage, just seminal, metalcore band, one of the biggest. They are probably the fucking biggest one. Still going today. Still dropping records. I dabble in and out. I've seen them twice. I saw them once with Howard way back in the day, basically when As Daylight Dies came out.
Okay.
That was on the tour with Dragon Force and a couple other bands.
Wow.
At Mesa Amp. And
06, 07, 06?
It's like 06, 07. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to been there because Dragon Force was still touring in Human Rampage. But anyway, yeah. And I remember getting introduced to this record. My brother saw these guys at Ozfest 05. Okay. So they were still touring for this record. And I remember Colin's always been a big Killswitch fan. And I remember Colin buying this CD and playing it. And that's how I got introduced to the band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've always loved this record ever since. I dig that era of metal and that metalcore stuff because it's all very positive for the most part. It's kind of upbeat. It's good, like get your shit together type of music. I think that started kind of with Hatebreed because Hatebreed has very like positive shit, even though the name of the band's fucking Hatebreed. They have very
Jimmy Johnson writes positive lyrics.
Well, he does. Like, get your ass up, get to work, fucking work out, do your shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
This is a very gorgeous pressing, nice gatefold. Got the guys in there.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Gotta love Howard too. What a great fucking voice. Jesse's cool too. I like Times of Grace a lot. The Jesse and Adam's side project. They only done like 2 records, but they're pretty cool.
Did they do that when I don't know the dynamics necessarily about the interpersonal relationships, but did they do that when Howard was in the band? Howard was in Killswitch?
No.
Okay.
It was Times of Grace. I think their first record's like maybe 10 years ago.
Okay. So Jesse was already back by that point.
Yes. Yeah. He's been in the band, I think, for at least a decade. So
yeah, it's insane.
So this is a very cool pressing. No, go ahead.
I just remember that conversation too, because I remember that was the first Howard record, right?
This is, the first Howard record, yeah.
I just remember that conversation. Like, I don't know shit about shit at that point, especially. And I remember the dynamic or the conversation was like how different it was Jesse versus Howard and how it's going to go forward and how it was in the past. And, whatever. That was the conversation with fans. Cause I remember hearing about that at school.
Yeah. I didn't know any different. Honestly, like I didn't know they had an other lead singer until way later. That's their third. End of Heartache's the third record. Alive or Just Breathing was before that, and then Killswitch Engage, the self-titles before that.
Our buddy Taylor was a huge Killswitch fan. That's who gave me all the Slow and Skinny on all the Killswitch stuff,
all the deets. Comes on like a silver. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a silver splatter with other silver, like maybe a lighter white on there or something. Or is that a die cut? Or not die cut, etching.
Oh, this might be no, there is an etching, but I don't think this is the one.
Oh, okay.
It's funny that you said that. Here, let me see if I can get it. Let's take a look here. Oh, you know what that was? I think that was. I thought there was. Maybe there isn't. Oh, yeah, there is. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. You're 100% right. Let's see if I can get it. It's basically just the logo.
Okay. I got you. The skull right there.
Skull, yeah. And then there's the other side.
That's awesome. I'll dig that.
I mean, yeah, I enjoy Run Out Groups pressings quite a bit. If they could get their shit out, that would be nice.
Yeah, not
But
delay it or not acknowledge the delays also.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's
Potentially.
another foundational fucking record when I was getting into harder music, and I think that type of stuff is a good stepping stone for people because it introduces you to harsh vocals, but it's because you have the clean choruses there too. So
Yeah.
you have those clean choruses to keep you invested if you don't like the harsh vocals, and then you just kind of like get used to the harsh vocals and get fine with it. And then usually you just go more extreme, or sometimes you just stick there. But either way, good tunes.
Yeah, definitely a good entry level band. I
Oh
mean, it's like it's them. It's Slipknot. Who else? Who else is the entry to metal?
yeah, Slipknot.
I guess Avenged. I guess.
Maybe Avenged Sevenfold, like from that era for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more
Corn.
that coming to mind.
Like, yeah, like those gateway bands. That kind of that'll by itself just kind of shoot you off. I think Pantera way back when was a gateway band too for a lot of people.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
But that's awesome. I love it. So I guess I'll do a 2 for whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
So when Blink 182 was no longer in my life. So the end of 8th grade. The end of 8th grade, I had to find a new band. And at that point, we just got a new computer, and we just figured out what LimeWire was. And I had watched a video on Fuse at the time. They had just turned over from Much Music for USA, I believe. Here in the States, at least, I think it's still Much Music over in our neighbors, our friends of the North, Canadians. I think it's still Much Music. Mm-hmm. But that band that I found a video, and I thought it was super cool, and a video for a song called Sic Transit Gloria. Glory Fades. The band is brand new. So I found this band through those videos on Fuse. They had really, really cool videos. And they did a live set when it was still Much Music. They did a live set. And I remember seeing a video of the live set because back then Fuse had really, really cool shows. And they had kind of like the old MTV shows. They kind of tried to do that where they had hosts and shit that would like, I want to listen to this. And they'd put on, obviously it wasn't real necessarily, but like they would throw on videos and shit that they had shot in studio, performances of. Well, Brand New did an in-studio set for this record when this record came out. Deja Entendu is the record. And so I saw the video for Sic Transit Gloria, and then I saw it for Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows. Those are the two big singles off the record. So I saw those videos. They were all real cool. And I saw the video of them doing the in-studio performances for this record acoustic. And I just became obsessed. I just became absolutely obsessed. I know everything I possibly could. I found their first record, Your Favorite Weapon, found that record, fell in love with that. That was a massive high school record for me as well, but I didn't want to pick their whole, discography, the early discography. I didn't want to do that. So I left out Your Favorite Weapon, but also loved that record. That's a straight pop punk record. This is more of a alternative emo, like more it's a better put together record, better musical record for sure. So this was an obsession of mine. And then this came out in 2003. And then they came out in 2006. They came out with The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. So this is the next evolution of the band. And personally, my favorite record they ever did, and one of my favorite records of all time. They got a lot more serious, a lot more experimental, a lot louder. The writing became better. Just top to bottom, a better record to me than Deja, but I still love Deja to death. This is my favorite record they ever did. And if this record never came along, I don't know what would happen, because I found my other favorite bands forever from this tour, from them. Like they were my gateway band to a bunch of other bands too, like Manchester Orchestra. They're my favorite band ever now at this point. I found them on the tour opening, first main support or main opener, I guess, for this tour. And I just became obsessed with them afterwards, and whatever. But I saw these tours. I saw them right before this album came out when they opened for Dashboard. When Dashboard was doing the maybe it could have been the Spider-Man song tour. Like I don't know, remember what year.
Hell yeah!
So it was
Vindicated.
06. So so 05 maybe was Vindicated. So I think they were
Yeah,
on
with
that
Spider-Man
same
2.
tour.
So,
Oh shit. Okay.
so
Oh
it was
yeah.
like
So it was
it
2.
was like 03.
Okay. Oh, maybe I'm lying to
Oh,
you then. Maybe it was
it was like
Stolen.
03, 04.
Okay, so maybe it was Stolen was the big song. I forget, but that was the Dashboard tour. So they opened up on that tour, and then I saw them with Thrice. No, I lied to you. Then I saw them with Manchester and Kevin Devine, and then I saw them with Thrice, all for this tour or this album cycle. And every night just killed it, did great. Everything was perfect. Not the Sun, maybe my favorite song off here. Archer's Bows Are Broken. What else? Sowing Season's the shit. Um, Ooh, You Won't Know. DeGosser. DeGosser's a massive song too. I think that maybe DeGosser's my favorite track on the record. But if you want to check out brand new, recommend Deja and Tendu, and would recommend Devil and God Raging Inside Me. So for this one, this is a white pressing out of 2000, I think it is. That was the first run from Academy Fight Song. I think did this one originally, or no, it was Triple Crown. This one's Triple Crown. So this is a Triple Crown, and then Ty and I, probably like what 6 years ago now, 6-7 years ago.
I think longer than that.
Yeah. So I went and saw brand new the day before, I guess 2 days before Record Store Day happened in like 2015, 2016, whatever it was. And I went and saw them 2 days before Record Store Day. I stood in line for those to be at the very front of the rail for 8-9 hours, maybe. It was just insane. And then the next night, Ty and I, being the best friend that he is and good guy, we got in line at Zia at 8:00 the night before Record Store Day, so that we would just sit in the back of his truck and just hang out and watch movies. And I think we watched Joe Dirt and we watched some other shit. And just because I wanted to get Call Me Shitty, you can do that. But I wanted 2 copies of this because I wanted to keep one sealed, even though I still had it, not selling it.
You wanted to guarantee at least one.
That's true. Very true. And then we both got one. So I have one sealed that I've never stole or anything. I just wanted it just to have a pristine copy. And this is my one copy I opened. And this came with a bunch of stuff and whatever. And this is the only special little addition they ever did for the record. It's die cut there with I think you can flip it and there's another spaceman inside of it. And it's just on black. And they did the mass repress shortly thereafter of just the black. And they never did this again. So this is, I think, out of 500, I think it was. And I'm really glad that we got one copy, and having 2 copies called me a dick. You can do it. It's totally okay. But I was happy to get both those copies, and they're still some of my favorite records of all time. But definitely high school, very, very dominant for me throughout high school were both those records.
Yeah, I remember that video, Sick Transit. I remember seeing that on Fuse. Yeah, that's about the only thing I fucking know. You've talked about that band so much and stuff. That's like the only fucking song that I know of that band. It's a little hilarious. But shit. Josh liked that record too. Still comes up sometimes on the Josh mix in the show.
As it should. I think you might be super into brand new if you gave him a shot at some point. I think you could get into it. But specifically, maybe Deja going into Devil and God. I don't think you like the first record, but those 2 records I think would be super up your alley. And if anybody has not checked out brand new, go and do so. And check them out on Spotify specifically, just Spotify. Don't look anywhere else. And you'll do all right. You'll enjoy the records.
But yeah, I remember doing that, the Record Store Day stuff, and that was a blast. Obviously, good stories. And I'd be curious to know how many copies did they get? Do you know?
I think we got at that location of that Zia that day. Yeah, I think got 2, so we got both of them.
Okay.
So
I was trying to remember like what would be.
Yeah, they put one next to the door, and they put one against the wall, and you went next to the door, and then I went and ran to the wall and grabbed it off the wall, and then we got some other stuff. But that was a big 12-hour waiting period.
Yeah, it was a fun night.
Yeah.
Now nothing comes out even close to that. That's that fucking
no, and I owe you that. So if there is something that gets crazy that you want to see, I will sit up and go all night with you if you need to do that. I will definitely do it for you.
I highly doubt anything will ever come out again based on the lists that have happened the last few years. But,
fair. But maybe so. Right. Who knows?
Let's go to one of my probably more formative than All That Remains in Killswitch. Tyler knows this is coming.
Yep.
Trivium Ascendancy. Ascendancy is 05. So this is basically freshman year. This is another band actually that they saw on that Ozfest, 05
Okay.
Ozfest, my brothers with Killswitch. And or no, excuse me, they saw Killswitch in 03 Ozfest. Excuse me,
Okay.
but this was 05. And I remember Josh buying this record, and I've fucking loved it ever since. Still listen to it all the time. Listened to it this last week. Loved it. Nice gatefold here. Got the guys in there looking like babies. I mean, they were babies. I will give props to Trivium, man. I think Matt was like 16 or 17 when the band started. And,
That's awesome.
you know, Corey and Matt and Paulo, the guy in the Overkill shirt, they're all still in the fucking band.
That's awesome.
So, and they're still playing music. They're still releasing records every couple years. They just slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's really, really fucking cool. I think the last time I saw them was like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And like, it was pretty impressive to see like how far they've come. And they've changed their sound over the years. It's funny. The record that came out after this is like very different. It's a lot of clean singing. It's like really Metallica worship.
Okay.
They're very metalcore, but more thrash inspired. I will give Matt props. He's a student of metal. He loves metal, and he wears his influences on his sleeve. So, yeah, I've always fucking just appreciated Trivium. I've dabbled in and out over the years. I always tend to check out the new record, and some have grabbed me more than others, but I will always follow them. I just appreciate the fact that they're still fucking going, and it's still the main three dudes. And this record,
awesome.
this record still fucking slays. They still play a lot of songs off this record. Gunshot to the Head of Trepidation. That's a big fucking song. Like Light the Flies. That's another big song that they still play. Rain. That's another big fucking song. Yeah. A lot of big songs on here. This one too, Roadrunner. So very rarely gets a repress.
They did get sold. I think Epic bought them or somebody bought them, right?
Warner owns Roadrunner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got bought. So like in theory, the same people that put out the Warner records will put out the Roadrunner records too, and maybe that's what's happening now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Got an orange.
Yep. Straight orange there. There is a special edition that has, I think, live stuff. Old CD, and it had a cover of Master of Puppets, and I always used to listen to that too. Really cool fucking cover.
There you go. Hey, let's pull it out right now. So what are their shirts? Is it Metallica, Guns, Overkill, and then there's a black metal shirt it looks like on one of the guys.
Yeah, Matt is, I think, wearing a Dark Throne shirt. Yeah. So Matt's wearing a Dark Throne, and then Corey's wearing a Guns, and then Overkill's on Paulo. And then Metallica. His name's, I can't remember his last name, and he was a drummer named Travis. I can't remember his last name. He's not in the band anymore. But yeah. So
love it.
Yeah, you can kind of tell, like, and this is their second record. I think their first record, Ember to Inferno, came out like 03. Okay. Yeah, and they're literally babies. From Florida as well, if I remember right. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I think like 14, 15. I think it's a pretty impactful time for music. So anything you find in that time, like, especially if like you're getting stuff from your brothers too, but like you're getting more of an investment than what they ever did, because you're way into like the doldrums of the music than even now than they ever were. They all love music to death, but like you're way geekier and nerdier than they are in a lot of this respect. So you went even further with it and just finding more and more shit about these bands than what they even knew. And that's just you get so invested in these records, especially like I said, 14, 15. Those are the ones forever for a lot of those bands.
It depends on your era though, you know, because like Josh could wax nostalgic about, you know, Alice in Chains, you know, fair stuff like that. So when he discovered that stuff, he was, you know, 20s when he was discovered, you know, Trivium. So it's totally different time,
different era, different time.
Yeah, exactly. So like
that lines up perfectly. So like he would have found Alice in Chains at the very tail end of Alice in Chains kind of existing, and then he would have done the whole same thing over again, but just obviously for, like I said, different eras and different bands.
Yeah. So yeah, but you're 100% right. Like 15, 16, like those are like the fertile years. Like if you're going to get into music, like this is when you're really going to start loving it or not. So
yeah, exactly. And And those, I think people might change their tastes a little bit. Like I'm sure there's people that have like, I don't really have, and I don't think you either. You don't have many of these either. We talked about this, like many like guilty pleasure records, like embarrassing kind of stuff. Like we don't have a lot of embarrassing shit that we were super into at some point. But like the records we loved back then, we still love now. Like it's just they're still like just they're tattooed on your head, in your brain, in your head. Like they just remain there, whether you want them to or not. They just remain forever. And for a lot of them, at least for all mine so far that I did the research for, they all held up. So I love it.
Yeah. So what you got?
All right. So next one, I'll go something very, very, very different. So this is 2005? 2007, lied to you. Wow, 2007. Oh. This actually makes way more sense. So 07, that's prime MySpace era. We were on MySpace constantly, and MySpace music was a major gateway for a lot of people to get into certain bands. And MySpace Showcase would have gotten your band just so much exposure. So one of those showcases they did was for this band, Tegan and Sarah. This is the record, The Con, came out in 07. They got showcased right on sign on when you're signing into the website. They got showcased for one of the videos, and I kind of got interested in. Like I knew Tegan and Sarah existed as Canadian sisters from the north, from our friends there, and I guess Canadian from the north makes sense. But so I remember that I knew they existed. I didn't really know anything about them. I just knew the name, and so I checked them out, and Back in Your Head, that's the song off this record. Back in Your Head was the video, and I remember getting super into that, and then kind of going backwards and checking out what they did previously, and then this record dropped, and this became one of my favorite records, and this is my favorite record they ever did. But they both trade off vocals, they trade off songwriting. They're twins, so they have a similar vocal, but one's a little bit deeper than the other one, and it's the highs and lows and what have you. And I just love everything about this era of the band. I love their entire look. I love the videos. I love the aesthetic for the record. Just with, the cut up book and the dirt and what have you. I was lucky enough to get this signed back on September 12th, 2013. I lied to you, September 10th, 2013. Oh. That's what it was. And they got it set up like a book, like chapters and stuff. And I always tend to gravitate towards Tegan's writing more than I do Sarah's writing. I love a lot of Sarah songs, but I think the Tegan songs are my favorite. Like 19, that's a Tegan song. 19 is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's the only time I've ever shot an entire song holding a phone. I've never shot videos at a show, ever. I was on the rail for them. Super lucky to do that. I was on the rail for them, and got the set list too, which is super sick. But I was on the rail and they started playing 19, and I immediately pulled my phone out and I started filming it. That's the only time I ever did that. I've never filmed a complete song. I don't even film little clips usually. Like I don't do any of that shit. I just take a picture, 2, 3, 4 pictures, and then I put my phone away, and then it's kind of done with, right? But this is the only time. 19 is the only time I did that. I definitely teared up. I had a little tears rolling down my face, and it was really intense. But Tegan and Sarah, 19, favorite song. Like H, another one. Dark Comes Soon, Call It Off. Back in Your Head was the first single. That was the big one. The Con is also a great song. Are You 10 Years Ago, Hop a Plane. I can just keep going. Every song on this record, massive. And when I found it, I became obsessed with it because it was coming right on after a massive breakup thing. And so basically all these records I'm going to show have to do with my high school breakups for the most part, a lot of them at least. So this is a breakup record, and I had to obviously get obsessed with it because that's what happened. So very sad, whatever. But singer-songwriters, Canadians, everything good. So Tegan and Sarah, The Con from 2007.
Yeah, and they're still fucking going today. So props to them.
They are still going. New record, from what I've heard. I have not listened to the whole thing. I need to. From what I heard, I don't like. It's the first record. It's the first record that they've ever done that I'm not into.
Wow.
Every other record I get into eventually at some point. The newest record that just came out, not super into it. I still need to give it a chance. I need to listen to it. But the first 2 singles, I'm out on it.
So, I saw that they're headlining some festival here.
They are. They're headlining like a week or two at the Zona Fest, I think it's called. The
Gotcha.
Zona Music Fest.
Interesting.
Yeah, but back in this time, especially prime Tegan and Sarah years. Love
Gotcha. All right, so let's go to a completely fucking different realm.
Love it.
Let's go to probably the first. They're the first extreme metal band that I ever got into. So yeah, I would say them or Demu, but I was way more into this band. So this is Behemoth. This is Evangelion. This is not the first record that I discovered them on, but they were also another Ozfest band. So they played Ozfest 07, the Free Fest, and I saw them touring for. Let me get it here. They were touring for this, which ended up getting signed there.
Hell yeah.
And they were touring for the Apostasy. That's this album. Obviously that's not the album cover. That's like the inner gatefold of the CD. So this is 15 years old now. So that I just instantly felt really old. But yeah, so got that framed up. So signed by the guys. Awesome. And then
you got it signed at Ozfest
07.
07. There you go. Yeah.
Because this record, the Apostasy came out in 07.
Okay.
I'm doing like a 3-fer. I got another Behemoth.
There you go. You're good.
So this is Evangelion. This came out in 09, and this is August 09. So a few months after we graduated. I vividly remember going to Zia with Anna when this came out to go buy it on CD. Go. And had the limited with the DVD and all that junk. So it's very cool. This is the most recent reissue that they did. I think this is from, Revolver did this. Because the original is expensive, the one I used to have. Cool gatefold. I've always dug this art style.
Yeah, it looks like the pencil or pen mark, like dot.
Exactly. Yeah. Always really dug this record. Really dig the sound on this record. Some say it's their last great record. They would be wrong. But if you're into this era of the band, when they were way more a death metal band than a black metal band, this is one of your favorite records for sure. Demigod, another record that I listened to in high school a lot, is really good too. But that's the
hell yeah
variant there.
Black splatter I feel like I don't see a lot of black splatter.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, usually you want to do it colorful. So, but they're a blackened death metal band. They started out as a black metal band from Poland, and then a lot of the early records are just straight black metal, really dark throne worshipy. And then they branched into more death metal, and then they just kind of kept the stage presence and the corpse paint and all that shit to go with the death metal. So blackened death metal. That record's really great. Came out in 09. This is a record that I listened to constantly in high school, along with the Apostasy and along with Demigod, which I don't own in the collection yet again. This is their 03 record.
Oh, wow.
This is Zos Kia Cultus. Or Zos. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, this record I listened to all the fucking time in high school, along with their other records I just mentioned.
Yeah.
This is like a 2018 reissue. 2010, but I don't think that's right.
See, also what's interesting is so you're listening. So you got an iPod a little later in high school, but you had an MP3 player early in high school, and you were only able to have like, you tell me, like 50, 60 songs on it or something or other.
Yeah, I think that little red one, maybe 100 songs. I don't know.
So you only had 5, 6, 7 records maybe on there, let's say.
At a time,
yeah. So like the records you had on there, you had to keep it going over and over and over again. And that just made you just appreciate and just love those records even more, because that's all you had. So, it makes you a bigger appreciation for them for sure.
Yeah. This record was definitely on that MP3 player. And I remember like vividly walking out. I think it was freshman year, walking out of the locker room in PE and just being fucking miserable and just having this record blaring in my fucking ears and just because this is all obviously pissed at the world fucking music. Like there's no very happy fucking Behemoth song. So like just you know, just being miserable.
Yeah.
And this is the soundtrack to those times. So pretty cool. Yeah, Behemoth's one of the biggest bands in the scene now. Honestly, it's fucking really impressive. Their newest record is it's funny you just said that about Tegan and Sarah. Their newest record's probably my most hated record.
Okay.
They've done. But it's still decent. But
what are they, 35 years on?
I think 90. So okay, 30, so 32. Close. 90, 91. So yeah. So quite a lot of records, different eras. So that's a cool thing. You can dive into different eras. Like if you want more death metal, this is definitely an era. If you want more black metal, listen to 90s shit. And the newest records are a good mixture of both. I really love The Satanist. That's one of my favorite fucking records they've ever done. That was after Nergal beat Leukemia. And that was the record after that, which is a very fucking powerful record. And then I Loved You at Your Darkest was the record after that. And I fucking love that fucking record. I love that fucking album title too.
Yeah.
So saw them on both of those tours. And then I've seen Behemoth like 6 or 7 times. And I didn't see him on their most recent tour because I just didn't dig the record that much. But very cool.
That's awesome. Behemoth, man. That's awesome. All right, so I noticed these. I didn't consciously do this I didn't consciously do it as a criteria, but I'm realizing now that a lot of these records were records that I listened to just on repeat. Like I had a video iPod starting sophomore year, so I got that. So I had 30 gigs, and so most of these records were on repeat at least a few times for like days at a time, maybe weeks at a time. And a couple of them for months at a time. Like everything I just showed you, absolutely 100% met the criteria. And then I just kind of sat back and I thought about it. And I realized these are all like life, especially at that point in life affirming, like just crucial to my existence records. Yeah. So another one of those. So Piebald, We Are the Only Friends We Have. I love this record. This is the end of high school, probably 08, 09. They have a song on here called American Hearts, which it was featured in an MTV2. I think of me and you watched this possibly like maybe last year or something or other, but an MTV2 commercial for like green energy or whatever. So they had a bus that they converted to a biodiesel bus, and they would use vegetable oil for fuel, and that's how they travel and they tour on that, whatever, right? MTV did a showcase on that in like 2000 and let's say 6, 7. So like this record's from 02. So this record's the oldest record I think I have in the stack here. And I just remember knowing because they used the American Heart song in that advertisement, and I just remember that clicking with me. And then I found it another time, and I don't remember. I'm sure it was MySpace or something, but something taught me about Piebald, and so I went and downloaded this record because I think I saw on a forum somewhere that somebody said this is the record. This is the one you want, right? So it's like a pop punky, alternative, a little bit weird. Album. It's super sick. I love it. I love every song on this record. For like 2 years, Piebald was my most listened to artist on Spotify, like 2 or 3 years straight. And it was just mostly this record. Like I like other Piebald records, like they're fine, but if I listened to this 1,000 times, I've listened to those records 4 times, you know? So they're very, for me at least, a very one album heavy record, or a band for me. And this is it. So fair. The bands you like one record of, really. That is a good topic. I think I have a handful of them. But I love this. Is one of my favorite records of all time. I love it. Could listen to it all day, every day. Never get sick of it. Never turn it off. Long Nights is the opener, and that's my favorite As long as it's not the opener, hold up. Is Simple Plan the opener? No, King of the Road's the opener. Then Simple Plan. Long Night's the fourth song. So yeah, I don't know. I'm fucked up here. So King of the Road, super sick songs about their bus. Simple Plan's cool. American Heart's the big single. For me, Long Nights, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. That song's like a singer or like an acoustic a song from Travis, the lead singer. And Look, I Just Don't Like You and Sex Sells, and Unfortunately I'm Buying. Those are just next level songs for me. If you're into early emo, pop punk, alternative, whatever, I would recommend checking out Piebald. Recommend checking out We Are the Only Friends We Have. And this is on I don't know what you would call
it's
that.
like a marbled green. Teal.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Exactly.
Aqua.
That's what it is. Yeah, let's call it that. But they've never repressed this. So, like this at least, there's a box set that I actually have, or a 4-disc set that Rise Records put out for Record Store Day of like 2011 or 12 maybe. And I have 2 copies of that because I got them for very cheap. So I still have that. So I have 3 copies of this total because this whole record's included in that set. But this is the only pressing. There's a few colors of it, but they only pressed it one time from back in that era. And next year they're going to do 20-year dates on it. So that's super sick. So nice. I'm really stoked about that. And yeah, this is 2000. Hold up. Now I'm questioning myself. 2002. Yeah, that's right. So they're doing 21-year dates next year, I guess. But
gotcha.
Whatever. But love this record. Love it to death. If you're into any of that stuff, they're a band that changed their sound a lot, and that's the first record that I personally was super into.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but because I've only ever heard that stuff like in the Jetta. Those are like Jetta days.
100%, absolutely, 100%.
So, but kind of Weezer-ish.
Sure, let's call them that. Okay. Let's call them that. Yeah, they have a little bit of synthy, like a Weezer like vibes and stuff. They have some of that in there. They're quirky. They have quirky lyrics, they have funny lyrics or whatever, and they have heavy, funny lyrics, whatever. That's kind of their wheelhouse and that era of them, because they actually started as a hardcore band, and they just got their sound just kept progressing and changing, and then they got into that. So yeah, but one of my favorite records of all time, definitely high school record.
Also, is that Sex Sells song? Is that a play on Peace Sells? Like is that
correct?
Place on like a parody on the title, sort of.
Correct. Yeah. So the song's has nothing to do with that, but yeah, but Sex Sells and Unfortunately I'm Buying, so kind of the same deal. They also have a song called Dave Lee Rock. Oh, okay. So Dave Lee Rock is the shit. That's another cool song. But yeah, they have a few of those like 80s metal, kind of references, I guess, in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, another really formative record in my life, getting into prog and prog metal. And this is, I actually showed this off recently because it re-added it back in the collection. Mastodon, Crack the Sky. So we don't need to go over the story again. Obviously, Tyler knows this record very well from going to Indio, California.
Big Four.
Big Four. But this is like one of the first like prog-ish records outside of like Rush or the older prog bands that I really fucking dove into, and like the extremer side, metal side of prog. And yeah, absolutely adore it. Still fucking slays. Actually saw them on this tour with Death Clock, who, it's funny when you do this, you think of other bands you could add in, and Death Clock is certainly a fucking high school band. They're a band that I only listened to in high school, and I think they only existed in fucking high school, because I don't think Metalocalypse is a show anymore, and I don't think Brendan is doing any more Death Clock albums. But anyway, I really dug the first Death Clock album. The second one's cool too. But yeah, Mastodon, and saw them on this fucking tour, and they played the whole album. So that was fucking sick.
That's crazy.
Definitely a memory. That was the worst fucking experience at Marquee Theater, because I've told this story to you before. That was the overbooked show because it was supposed to be at Mesa Amp, and Mesa Amp is an outdoor amphitheater,
a healthy amphitheater at that.
Yeah, it's good capacity, and you could relax, sit in the grass, hang out, whatever. And then I guess they didn't sell enough tickets for Marquee, which is funny because Mastodon is way bigger now, but yeah, they moved it, or sell enough tickets for Mesa, and they moved it to the Marquee Theater. and it was fucking packed. It was the most packed I've ever fucking seen it. And I've seen big fucking bands there. Like we saw Megadeth there. And Anthrax and shit. And it's never been that packed. So yeah, that was fun.
I think they sold just too few for Mesa Amp. They had to just miss the fucking the number there, and then they're like, we can't justify this rent, so we got to move it, whatever, right? But they sold way too many for Marquee.
I remember getting
no
there.
One called the fire marshal.
Yeah, nobody called it. But I remember getting there because we got there a little late. It was Colin and I went, and I think I won tickets actually. And Colin and I went, and we got there a little late. And I remember like people were just standing out in the merch area. If you remember the old merch area at Marquee.
Yeah. And it had the thing that they had the wall there too.
Yeah.
But before they opened the wall up.
Standing and watching the show out in the merch area. And it wasn't like they were just hanging out at the merch. No, they were like trying to watch the show. So I remember having to snake our fucking way up there to get a halfway decent spot. So yeah.
Yeah. Now they're a much bigger band now, and they routinely sell 3,500 tickets, 4,000 tickets easily every night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If not more. Yeah. Like we saw them at Dodge, whatever it was, like 5 years ago or something or other, and it was super cool. Yeah. But yeah, didn't we see them at did we see them at Marquee too?
I saw them at Marquee. I just told you that.
No, did we and you see them together at Marquee? Or was it just at Dodge?
I think they played the didn't they play the Alice in Chains and Janes thing? Didn't they play that fest? Okay. I don't know. I thought I saw them at Cricket Pavilion too. But
let me bust out my big book of set lists here. You know what I'm saying?
What, you have a Mastodon set list?
I do. Yeah. So
oh wow, okay.
Okay, I might not. Hold on. Well, I think I do. Because
we might have, but I think I've only seen them 3 times. I think I was only with you once.
Tread Lightly, Blasteroid,
that's at
Oblivion. This is Dot Seeger tour.
Yeah, yeah. Because very cool. That's from. Is there a date on there?
There's not. I was looking for that. I batted 1,000 that night, and I got all 3 bands.
Who were the bands?
I don't know. Death Angel? No?
Death Angel opened for Anthrax. They wouldn't be with Mastodon.
Okay, lie to you. So, Esplosta, The Axe, Heaviest, Backbone, Love.
Oh, that's Gojira.
Gojira? Yep,
we
Gojira
did see them at Marquee. Holy shit.
Thank you. I knew something.
Marquee. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's Gojira. Because you were like,
I remember
you kind of dabbled in Gojira a little bit.
I did, because I remember we watched, because so my favorite, we're getting way too into things here. My favorite guy of all time that exists on this earth is one Randall Johnson, former pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks and Seattle Mariners and New York Yankees and Houston Astros and unfortunately the San Francisco Giants and Montreal Expos way back when. But anyway, that's my favorite dude that exists on this planet. Randy Johnson, my childhood hero, still today hero. Anyway, he shoots bands now. So I remember being at Marquee with you, watching Mastodon, and he was right in front of us. 6'10" ass Randy Johnson was right in front of us taking pictures. And I remember just looking at Randy a lot, just like, oh shit, like that's my dude.
I saw him multiple times at shows. Josh and I saw him at one of the fucking festivals that doesn't exist anymore that Stone Sour played, and hell yeah.
Oh, Red Fest or U Fest or whatever?
It was U Fest, but it was a title. I can't remember what it was.
U Fest presents fucking whatever.
I can't remember, but he was there, and I saw him a ton of fucking times at shows. I totally forgot about that show. What was the other band? Band?
They were
Gojira.
So Gojira, and then I don't think I could be lying to you. I don't know. Bruan, Fosse Grim, Ulvitid,
I have no fucking idea.
Evig, Vanderar, Bloodprost, and Keveltrak. Keveltrak is their closer, so I think that's the hit. You can probably look this up right now.
I gotta look this up, dude. I gotta look.
Yeah, Keveltrak.
So, Mastodon and Gohira. I don't know how many times they toured together though.
2014, maybe 15.
Oh, man, sorry. Yeah, 2014. You're 100% right. Oh, Kavertek. I know that band. I never even knew I fucking saw them.
There you go, man.
They're a very big band for people. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think they're from some Scandinavian country.
I would assume as much, just based on their titles of their songs. I assume that is the Scandinavian titles.
October 18th, 2014.
Love it.
Holy shit.
Love it.
Yeah, I completely blanked that. I forgot. I remember seeing Gohira a couple times, and that was one of them. And then yeah, very cool. All right. That was Mastodon Cracked Side. Tyler bringing up fucking stories I didn't even fucking remember. So very cool.
There you go, man. That's like a trap up here, brother. It's like a trap. So another big high school record for me. High school band for everybody in the emo pop punk scene or whatever was a band called Say Anything. So Say Anything, I did the favorite debuts. We talked about this, but I also mentioned their debut record. For me, they have a record before that, but I don't really consider that debut, even though technically it is, but whatever, called Is a Real Boy. That's the first record for me. They had a record before that called Baseball, but I don't count it because whatever. Anyway, so this for me, their second record in defense of the genre. I saw this tour. I saw them twice on this tour, I believe. And no, 3 times. I saw them at Warped Tour too. And they toured with Manchester. Manchester was main support for them on this tour, and it was super sick set. They played forever. There's 27 songs in this record. So it's a double LP, double disc.
Jesus Christ.
And this record is dense, my friend. Like
Guns and Roses
just
over here.
100%. Just whatever. Like, and I honestly, like, for me, again, for my mind, I love every track on this record. Like, there's very few that I skip, and I feel like the ones that I actually didn't like at the time, like I would skip, I like the most now. Like, there's the last song of the record is called Plea. That song I didn't really like in high school, and I love that song now. There's another song at the tail end of the record called Goodbye Young Tutor, You've Now Outgrown Me. This is the era of the pop punk emo bands having really, really, really long song titles and album titles, and Say Anything was no stranger to that as well. And but for this record, I just remember when it came out, my buddy Jake and I would hang out like every night, and there would be new songs leaking every few days or so because this record was so long, and there'd be new songs leaking. There was a really big hype record because Is a Real Boy was such a massive hit in the scene, also a double LP record. And so it's a concept record as well, and Is a Real Boy kind of is too. And so they just kind of continued the story in a certain way, I guess, sort of, a little like loosely. And they had on this record, there's so many people from the scene on this record, like Gerard and I think Frankie from My Chemical Romance are on the record. Travis, no, lie to you, Chad and Jordan from Newfound Glory on the record. Haley Williams for Paramore's on the record. Matt Skiba's on the record. Andy Jackson from Hot Rod Circuit's on the record. There's Take Back Sunday, Fred Mascherino and Adam Lazzaro on the record. Just tons of fucking people. Basically everybody that was anybody at the time was on the record. And just obsessed with it, love it to death. Church Channel, that's the one with Haley Williams. That song is the shit. There's also just massive guitar licks on this record. Like, it's a huge guitar record, and I just love that Max Bemis can write just super insane guitar licks whenever he wants to. He never did again. So this is the one record that he did it for. But in the defensive genre, Say Anything. This came out in 2007, I think it was. It's a really dense, really long record, but I would recommend, it's a classic. I would recommend anybody pick it up if you're into that era of music, that scene, any of that. They're a massive pillar of that era for sure. And then, now they've kind of, fallen by the wayside a bit, unfortunately. But in the
Hmm.
moment, they were fucking massive. They're huge.
Gotcha. That's still readily available. Or
So
is
that pressing,
thousands
so
of
I've been not really doing granular pressings there. So this is on Orange. I think this is out of 1,000, I believe it is. So they have not really repressed this record too many times since then. This is the first pressing, and I think they did another one last year. But they're all $75, $100 at least at this point.
Gotcha. So nothing too crazy, but I got
nothing too insane at this point.
Alrighty, let's go. We're gonna pull out the old compact discs here. This is a band that they've got one vinyl record to their name, and I do not own it.
Okay.
I don't even know how much it costs. I should look that up actually. Actually, I think I did, and there was like no listings on Discogs.
Wow.
This is one of my favorite bands. Man, it'd be if I did a top 10, they might crack the top 10 for sure. They are definitely probably my favorite band of that era. Probably the band that I listen to the most. I know these two records in particular, all their records. They only have 4 or 5. I know them front to back. And they're a band of what could have been. That's Hurt. That's volume 1. Wearing the high school shirt, by the way. Still fit in.
Love it. There you go.
So this is the just the regular cassette, the regular CD case, and then I have the digipack that's very cool. It's like a book. It's got a little bookmark deal in there.
There you go.
So that's very cool. This album came out. It was 2006 as well. So another 06 record. I remember when this came out. I love the fucking inner artwork too on here.
That's awesome.
And then
start playing.
Capitol's coming after us now.
100%.
This is very cool. Got a gatefold here, and then got all the liner notes. Cool artwork. House Carpenter actually opened up. That's funny. That's one of my favorite songs on this record. They were a hard rock band, but very different elements. Jay, the main songwriter, lead singer, is also a classically trained violinist. So a lot of these songs have his violin. Dance Rousseau is probably one of my top 10 songs of all time. And that heavily features the violin. It's great live. Seen them live multiple times. I remember when this record came out, I remember Josh bringing it home because I remember him hearing it. Probably would have been Rapture was probably the lead single on KUPD, and they really got played here quite a bit, honestly. And that station really supported them back then, which is cool. They actually did like an acoustic set that came out on CD too, which I don't own, for KUPD.
Wow.
So that's cool. And they always got promoted pretty heavily there. And I remember him bringing this home and just falling in love with it because it's very pop. It's very radio rock, but there's something way deeper there. Jay is a very good lyricist, good songwriter. A lot of the songs are about religion, struggling with faith. He grew up in a very heavily like fundamental Christian home. That's why he played violin, because his parents forced him to.
Yeah.
And this record deals a lot with that. And they were signed to Capitol. Their drummer, their original drummer, his uncle or something worked for the label, and they got signed to Capitol. And this isn't their first record. Their first record is The Consummation. And then they later re-released it as The Reconsummation. I have that too down there. But this is their first major label, and absolutely fucking adore this record. And another side note about KUPD, which is random. They used to do didn't know if you remember this, Tyler. They used to do a top 98 at the end of it, basically leading into New Year's Eve.
Like, you told me this before. I don't remember this. You told me about this before. Yes.
So they used to do a top 98, like the most requested songs of that year. And they would go down, start from 98 and go all the way down to 1. And 1 would play basically midnight. So New Year's. Mm-hmm. And I remember one year, it might have been 06, 07. I remember one year, I think it was Falls Apart was number 1.
You
which
told
is
me
one
this.
of the
Yep.
singles off this. And I remember Josh and I both just being like, "What the fuck? Hurts number one. Fucking KPD. What the hell?" And then first time I ever saw them, they opened for Alice in Chains on the Alice in Chains reunion tour. So that was very cool. I've seen them multiple times since then. They haven't toured in like 10 fucking years. So this is volume 1.
Well, we saw them. We saw them like 10 years ago, right? Maybe now.
That's the last tour. That was the Crux. That was their last album. So, and then this is volume 2. This came out in 2007, so a year later. And I absolutely adore this record too. I remember getting it and being like, man, I don't like it as much. But then as you do, you just kept listening to things. And when I had it in the truck, I would just have it in. I spent $10 on this, $15, whatever it was. I'm going to listen to it all the time. And then I absolutely adore this record now. 10 Ton Brick was the lead single. That was a pretty big song. Talking to God's a really cool song. Alone with the Sea is one of my favorite songs. Probably they ever
Is there
did.
Is there any update on anything having to do with them at all, or Jay or anything?
I checked in like a couple years ago, maybe last year, and there was like Facebook posts on the Facebook that Jay was posting about shit, and he was still shilling his he does like vocal lessons and shit.
You told me about that. Yeah,
so you can pay for vocal lessons, but that's it.
He's had a history and a battle with the demons, and unfortunately has come into play with the band or whatever. And hopefully it's not a thing anymore. Who knows? But yeah, they're not really doing anything at all at this point.
Yeah, they haven't done anything since The Crux, and I think that came out like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
So that's the last album. That was the last tour. That was the last time they ever really did anything. They got dropped from Capitol, and then they did Goodbye to the Machine. That was the first they did for an indie label, and that's a really good it's a really good fucking record too. That's the only vinyl that exists of Hurt.
Oh, is that true?
I may try.
I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, there is a vinyl pressing of that. That record came out like 2009, I think. Another record that I remember vividly going to buy. I think I bought it at Target.
So none for sale right now. Yeah. It has sold at least one time for $20. Another time the median was $40. Unfortunately, though, the last time it was sold was in May of this year for $349, and prior to that was $350.
Yeah, none of this shit will ever get repressed. It's even hard to find CD copies because I would look because I wore these out. Like I have 3 copies of Volume 2. I have those. I think I have another copy of Volume 1. I have 2 copies of Goodbye to the Machine. I would buy them when I saw them because I wore them the fuck out. And
need safeties.
So it sucks they got dropped by Capitol, and then that kind of spiraled. And I wish they would have kept going because there was definitely fucking talent there, and Jay's really a talented dude. And if you're into hard rock and you want something a little bit deeper, check them out. Very cool fucking band, and they're one of those bands I just get fucking bitter about because it's like why couldn't you just fucking keep going? Because I literally love every one of their albums. So that story.
Stuff happens, man. Stuff gets in the way, unfortunately. The worst parts of life sometimes gets in the way of a lot of bands. But it is what it is. All right, so another one that I have here that was again a massive record for me that I had on repeat just constantly, and I also realized that for a lot of these records I remember putting the lyrics into my iPod because you used to be able to do the triple tap and the lyrics would come through and you could read the lyrics, whatever. So I would program the lyrics into my iPod for a lot of songs, and actually they're still there, by the way, because I got a new battery for my iPod year before last, and I remember looking and I found all my lyrics are still on my hard drive. So the hard drive still works. It's now 15 years old. And it's crazy. And still have all my shit on there. So it's pretty impressive. But one of those records that from that time, again, another breakup record, high school breakups, everything is the worst thing in the world. You're never going to get over it. All that stuff was Stories and Alibis by Matchbook Romance. So Matchbook were on Epitaph. They were a part of the new age emo stuff of like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. This record came out in 03. Yep, 03. I remember seeing the video on Fuse. A lot of these are Fuse videos for sure, because Fuse would use this video as a bumper into other stuff for My Eyes Burn. And yeah, I just remember seeing that video and hearing that all the time. And like, the line is "My eyes burn from these tears." Like it's the stereotypical like that era like emo whatever. But I love the record just so much. I put it on repeat for months and months and months and listened to nothing but this record. Definitely got me through a lot of those horrible, terrible times. But they were a massive band at the time when Epitaph was having the resurgence with like From First to Last, Matchbox. Or Matchbook, excuse me, Matchbook. The Matches were also another Epitaph band. They were all coming through, and it was super cool to see all that happen. And they just kind of, unfortunately, like in 2008, 2009, maybe, by the tail end of high school, things just weren't really happening anymore, and they broke up shortly thereafter. They had another record after this called Voices, which I also have, which I do like as well. But this is the big record for me. But it's cool. It's a gatefold. They put this out maybe 5 years ago or so, and it has all the songs on there, the lyrics. It has all the thank yous and stuff. For my mind, if I'm going to say something, so My Eyes Burn is a big song too. Promise is the other song. Tiger Lily is a big song. Lovers and Liars is a big song. The Greatest Fall of All Time is also a great context for that time song. It's kind of embarrassing to listen to it now, like a little bit, because the lyrics are just so cheesy. Like the chorus is, "You set me up for the greatest fall of all time." Like that's the part of the start of the chorus, and it's just like you're putting a lot of stake into this relationship. This thing that's happening right now. But Shadows Like Statues, also very cool. It's a very loud record. There's a lot of heavy guitar on this record too, which is super cool. Stay the Night, just She'll Never Understand. If all else fails, like there's a bunch of songs in this record that were scene staples, if you will, and all over MySpace. Promise, My Eyes Burn, Greatest Fall of All Time, those were the big ones. And Tiger Lily also was a big song for MySpace too, just thinking about profile songs. But yeah, Matchbox Romance, love, or no, fuck. Stories and Alibis, I don't know what I'm thinking about. Stories and Alibis. This is a cool record. Pick it up. I think this is like out of 550, I think they played a reunion set or tour with Warped Tour, and they sold them on Warped Tour, and they posted the leftovers online. It's a one-time press out of 550. And I think this is like a $75 bill maybe at this point, plus, and whatever. But they don't do anything anymore, unfortunately. I think they still play reunion shows every so often, but I have not seen them beyond that first Warped Tour in 2005.
Gotcha.
But super
sick. Do you think that like that era emo or whatever, that era style of music was like, I don't know, I guess you kind of lump like MCR in there too. Was that like the glam like metal of our era? Now, obviously it's totally different style. Obviously it's totally fucking different.
I think it can be treated the same way, because I think that a lot of people that were into glam are kind of embarrassed they were into glam. Like they're embarrassed by those bands and they kind of feel weird and cringy about some of that stuff. I can dig it. Like I understand what you're saying.
Or you just still fucking love those bands because Poison.
Yeah, or that's true. Like all these bands, are a lot of them. Like, I mean, obviously, My Chem at this point is one of the biggest bands, like rock bands, going today. Like they sell out arenas at this reunion tour, like healthy arenas. They're selling out and they're reselling tickets. Not them, but people are, for like $400, $500, $600, like for shit tickets. So like, there's obviously they're still massive, but like Hawthorne Heights, Census Fail, who else is still out there doing stuff? There's a handful of them. I can't remember. Like, I still like those bands. I still like those records. I'm not embarrassed by them by any means.
Sure.
But I get what you're saying, because like, just some of the lyrics are just like, at this point, like when you get older as an adult, they're high school lyrics. They're what you write when you're really young and you have so much, so much hormone and everything else going throughout your body. And I think the bands, if they wrote those songs today, they would not use the same lyrics they use now, and they'd probably do things a little differently. But I still love the records. I don't have any real embarrassment there.
I'm
but
I'm not even arguing like the valid nature of the music.
Yeah.
Like I love fucking Def Leppard. I love Motley Crue. Like I dig all those fucking bands too. But my point is like it's kind of just like that same era. Like it seems to me like that was our era. Like those bands.
Yeah,
like that. They were probably the biggest bands going that played like guitar driven music. And yeah, those are like in the late 80s or mid 80s, those like that Crew, Poison, like that era, those were the bands too. Another side question too, because obviously MCR getting back together, doing the big fucking tour. Do you think, like, obviously fucking Crew, Def Leppard playing stadiums? I'm not asking if they'll ever play stadiums, but I'm asking, do you think and obviously those bands are 40 years fucking deep at this point.
Yeah.
Do you think MCR will be doing a 40-year fucking tour?
So they could. I mean, it all depends. Obviously, it all depends on if they broke up for 7 years when they were still making tons of money and still selling out arenas and shit and playing the biggest festivals in the world. They broke up. They don't hate each other or anything like that, but they broke up for so long and they came back and they're bigger than ever. And like, there's still kids in middle school and high school finding that music now and becoming little My Chem kids again. Like, it's crazy. Because they could if they want to.
My point is, I think right now is the perfect time. Because like we're at that age where like you're making probably enough money where you have that income to go see MCR at whatever arena. Like, and do you think like that would be relevant to those same people in 20 years? Like when those people are 50?
I think so. I think you could still. I think you could still definitely do that. Do an arena tour or maybe. I mean, I don't know. My Chem is such like it's almost like. It's hard to equate it, but it's almost like Guns is bigger than every band in that scene. Like just so much bigger than every band in that scene, right? So they could carry an arena tour if they added Bullet Boys or some shit on there. Like they would carry that arena tour obviously just easily and nobody would give a fuck 9 times out of 10 for Bullet Boys or whomever, right? Whatever. But like MCR, I think could, if they wanted to like do like a stadium tour and add on just 4 or 5 of those bands from that scene, they're going to sell it out, but I think they'll bring a lot of people in for those other bands too, because other bands are still big deals for other people.
I think you're misunderstanding my point though. Like, do you think that's still going to be there 20 years from now?
The draw will still be there. The draw will still be there. I would still go see the bands in 20 years. I feel like there's bands that I've seen play the same record 10, 15, 20 year anniversary tours. I go every year. Sure. So like every time, so like I still do that. And if I'm still willing to do that, I'm sure I'm not alone. there's still thousands of us out there that would do it. Like I've seen Say Anything play that is a Real Boy record. I've seen them do it 3 times. And then I've seen Max do it twice solo. So like, it's just, I think that's just going to happen. Right. But yeah, I think they'll still be relevant.
I just think it's an interesting topic to think about for bands that were like mainly relevant when we were growing up.
Yeah.
To where it's like Crew is obviously fucking relevant years before we even happened. So
100%.
We don't
a full decade.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't really have any other examples. So interesting.
That's
topic.
Fair.
I got one last physical item to show, and then I got just a couple other kind of one big mention and a couple honorables. So this actually was a very recent pickup for $5, and I'm like, I'll never own this on vinyl until they do a 20-year anniversary pressing. Maybe this is another was it 06? Yeah, 06 record. So this is In Flames with Come Clarity. Absolutely just still fucking love this record. I listened to it the other day and was just fell in love with it all over again. In Flames is a band that a lot of people fucking hate now. Still a lot of people love them. They started trend chasing, like especially on this record. They went after that metalcore audience hard. And In Flames is one of the pioneers of Swedish mellow death. So Swedish melodic death metal. And I could see how if you were into In Flames in the 90s, and when this shit started coming out, you'd be like, yeah, fuck now. I got into this band at this era and then went backwards after I started getting into more extreme shit So, you know, I think I got the best of both worlds. Like if you're getting into this band at this time,
Yeah.
I still dig a lot of their newer records too, but this record just fucking has always stuck with me. Actually got this. This is actually the copy too, not the same copy, but the same pressing of it, the Digipack pressing that I got in Earth Science class from one Tevin Tomes.
Ooh, Tevin Tomes reference. Nice. Shout out Tevin Tomes.
There's a name for you out there.
He gave it to you?
In TV land. Well, gave it to me. You can borrow it and then, you know.
You just never get back?
Yeah, exactly.
So ties admitting to stealing right now is basically what we're talking about here. Ties admitting
I don't think he
misdemeanor
ever asked for it. Yeah, misdemeanor for sure. Yeah.
Statute of limitations is up. You're good, brother. You can speak freely.
Yeah. Obviously, Take This Life is the opener. That's probably one of their biggest songs ever, honestly. Still love it. I absolutely love this whole fucking record. If you're into mellow death, but into metalcore as well, and don't mind clean vocals, a lot of people don't like Anders' clean vocals. He's not a great clean singer. You have to really get used to his voice, but I dig it. And this is the same Digipack because it came with, I remember his had a DVD in there too.
Ooh.
And this has like a making of. Now, my CD player in my truck, I had like this sampler in it forever because it came with a record I ordered off Bandcamp. So I had it in there for like the last 6 months and would just play it randomly if I didn't want to pull up anything on Spotify or listen to the radio. And I went to go hit the eject button and the CD player was not ejecting.
Wow.
So it got the CD out, and then I was like, do I put this in? And I'm like, fuck it. It was $5. I put it in. Sad part about it is it absolutely fucking wrecked the CD. I don't know if you can see that gash right there, like on the top right in my finger.
Oh yeah, I do see it. Yeah.
And then there's more marks on it.
Yeah, good call, brother.
So I played it once, so that really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, you did play it once. That's true. It was just once.
It was $5, so I was like, whatever. I can still listen to it on Spotify, obviously. But I was like, I'll just leave this.
Spent $5 on worse.
I was like, I'll just leave this in the truck because I absolutely love this album, and then if I want to play a CD, it's in there. And that didn't work out. So I guess I'm not going to be playing CDs in the truck anymore. So
that is insane. It dilapidated it, brother. It's not cool. All right. So should I do a real one, or should I do just quick run of my remainders? You think?
Whatever you want to do, brother. Because I got.
Well, we're already over 2 hours. If we're already over 2 hours, I'll do a quick run. So
okay.
Wish you want to do 2.5 hours? Like, I mean, we could do it.
Right, keep it going. Whatever you want to do.
All right. So, all right, I'll do. Hold up. You do one. You do your remainders, and I'll do my.
I only have really one more I really want to talk about, and then the others I'll just mention as honorables.
Okay. So this is a twofer. This is Have Heart. They're a Boston hardcore band, straight edge hardcore band from the mid 2000s. This is my first entry into actual hardcore music, if you will. Like, I'm sure there's still a handful of dudes that would say this is not hardcore and everything else, but they're the heaviest hardcore band that I ever listened to in this era, and they're my gateway to anything else. So this is their debut record, Things We Carry. This came out in 2006 on B9. And so I remember there's a song here called Arm with a Mind. I remember getting into I don't claim anymore or whatever, but straight edge was like a big deal to me in middle school and high school. It was a massive, like a huge thing. Like I just claimed, and I would do the whole thing. I had belts and shit and shirts and just being a dumbass and whatever. And so as you tend to do when you're whatever, trying to find yourself. So I don't claim anymore, but I guess I still am, whatever. Right. So cool. So, anyway, so Have Heart, Things We Carry, the first record, on the straight edge boards on MySpace, they would talk, or the groups or whatever, they would talk about Have Heart because they're a positive Boston hardcore straight edge band, and Armed with a Mind was the big song. And so I heard Armed with a Mind, and it's all about not doing drugs and, not, taking action in your life with your mind, not with your fists, and this and that and whatever the fuck, right? Big life step song. So I was like, I like this a lot. This is sick. So I went and I downloaded the record and I liked it a lot. They were coming on tour to the Modified here in Phoenix.
Ooh, wow.
So I went and saw them at the Modified. And I went and saw them twice. I think one of the twice the Modified, or three times, twice the Modified, once at the Fix later on. But so saw this record tour. It was super sick. I loved it. The whole record is really cool for me. Like, they're still trying to figure out what they want to do here. But Life is Hard Enough is the opener song. This whole record is 20 minutes long. 25. One of these is 25. One's 20. I think this is 20 and the other one's 25. But very quick, very cool. Arm with the Mind's a big song. Old Man 2, play on the Neil Young Old Man song. Mm-hmm. To Us Fools, Something More Than Ink. Something More Than Ink is a big straight edge song because it's people that get tattooed in straight edge and then they break edge or whatever. Something More Than Ink is the kind of the rally cry for that. But they also have Watch Me Sink and Watch Me Rise. That's two different songs. That's kind of cool that they have the whatever in the Unbreakable. Just super cool. So love Things We Carry from Have Heart, 2006. This came out 09 or 08. There we go. And I remember I saw them on this tour and then again on the farewell tour they did later on the next year. And I bought this CD at the B9 tent at Warped Tour 08. And I remember like wanting the record, but they didn't have any in stock. And I wasn't even buying vinyl. I just thought it was cool. And also thought about I got to carry it around all day. And it was the whole thing, like a bag and shit kind of sucked.
Especially at Warped Tour.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's lucky that whatever. So this is a later, but I actually think I bought this maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. This is my favorite of the two they did. The whole thing, top to bottom, is just fucking amazing. The production on it's a lot better. I think his lyrics got a lot better. Pat Flynn, the lead singer's lyrics got a lot better. And it's all about just growing up, and a lot of it's about his dad's struggles trying to raise him and his family. And his grandfather was a massive, horrible alcoholic. And so it's all about coming to terms with that and like family secrets and stuff and whatever. And just, all that. So this is Songs to Scream at the Sun is the name of the record. And if I was to tell you to listen to songs on here, I think Boston's is a good song. Paved Paradise is a sick song. Brotherly Love is a sick song. No Roses, No Skies. That is a really fucking cool song. And The Same Sun, they have two different songs. One is S-O-N, the other is S-U-N, and one opens, one closes. And also 6 songs. So I'd recommend if you're into positive hardcore or just heavy music in general, hardcore tinge, Have Heart, Songs Scream the Sun, Things We Carry, mid 2000s, late 2000s hardcore, just super sick. And these are pressings. I think this is on blue, so it's just solid. I guess maybe translucent blue. Blue. There's that, and then I have this one is a tri-color. Ooh. And that kind of correlates with the cover a little bit. I guess it's no green, but yeah. So there you go. So
isn't Things We Carry? Isn't that a book?
That is a book. That is a book indeed. I think there's reference. I have not read that book. It is. I believe you are correct. So I've not read that book, but I believe there are references to said book on the record, but I don't know anything about anything, so I don't know those direct references.
I got you. Okay. Very cool.
But yes, so good call, brother.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right. I got one last must have on here. I do not own it anymore. I thought I still owned the CD, but I don't. And then there is no vinyl of this. I would greatly appreciate a vinyl pressing here. So I'll bring it into the stream here. We got Breaking Benjamin with Phobia.
Ooh.
This is 2006, man. I still love fucking Breaking Benjamin. I really love all their fucking albums. I think they're one of the best radio rock bands easily of the fucking 2000s. Obviously, they blew up with their second record that had So Cold on there as lead single, and that had Corgan wrote some stuff with them, Billy Corgan. So that definitely helped him out too. And this record though is the record that I really fucking vibe with and still absolutely play. This obviously has Diary of Jane on there. That's their biggest song. It's got we're at almost half a billion plays. Breathe was another big song. So I mean, this whole fucking record has even the intro and outro have 5 million plays. So
that's awesome.
Still absolutely adore this record. If you're into radio rock, you know who the fuck they are. But there's more to dig into than just, that shit gets played on the radio. Absolutely love the band.
How did you find them?
I think Josh had the record. What's the fucking name of the record? I can't. The one that was So Cold. The one before this. I can just click back and get you.
You can just click back. Yeah, good call. Click the band name.
There you go. I'm here. Just see all. We Are Not Alone.
Oh, yep. Remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember going to Target and you remember that really tall kid? The really tall.
Was his name Alan?
I think he was no. I don't think so. I think he was a black kid. I can't remember.
Don't remember.
Fuck. We were at Target. I was picking up my check, and that kid was buying this CD.
just a memory of in your brain skull right there, brother.
Yeah, because we knew him from school, and I remember we like barely knew him, but I remember like talking to him outside of the store. And it was like,
about him buying the Breaking Benjamin record.
I think you asked him, "What'd you buy?" And this is the CD that I bought. Yeah,
we both knew him.
We both knew of him. Like I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, I think Josh bought this record, and that was a pretty big single. And then like when this album dropped, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this, and then absolutely just played the living hell out of it. Dear Agony came out in 2009. That's a big record for me too. This is after high school, but my wife and I were going to being townies, going to community college here. And I remember absolutely listening to that record a lot, driving to school every morning with her. And she even got into that record. So yeah, I still dig all the shit. Aurora was their last album. That's got acoustic stuff on there. If I remember right, I think Haley Williams is on this record too.
Ooh, nice. Spencer Chamberlain from Under Oath also on the record.
Lacey Strum. Sorry, that's who I was getting mixed up. Yeah. She's from
Flyleaf.
Flyleaf, yes. That's what I don't know why I said Haley Williams. But
either way,
actually, they look kind of similar, so that's why. Honestly, Scooter Ward from one band called Cold. So there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. That stupid girl.
It all comes back to Cold. Okay, it always comes back to Cold.
It always does, man. Just when you think you're out, drag you back in. But anyway, yeah, Phobia is one of my all-time favorite records by them. Listen to it a fucking ton. Still dig it. Listened to it the other day at the gym and absolutely still fucking rocks. So there you go. Breaking Benjamin.
I fucking love it. Yeah, Ty is definitely still on the Breaking Benjamin hill. And anytime a new record comes out, he does actively go listen to it. So Breaking Benjamin definitely are a band for Ty.
I need vinyl reissues, man. I need vinyl reissues of that and the.
Is there vinyl of that anyway?
No, they've never pressed it on vinyl.
Okay, interesting. Fair enough. All right, I'm gonna run through all these because I've actually talked about some of these before. So it's kind of stupid for me to rehash them again. So here, so Midtown, Forget What You Know. I think it's my favorite record of all time. I think it is. I don't know for sure, but most days I'd probably say that to you. So emo, pop punk, alt rock record. It's the biggest record that I like from the band. Like I like their other records, but this is the biggest record for me. Again, maybe some of that. I like one record. I like all the records, but this is 100 times better for me than their other ones. But this is on white. I think this is out of 500. The first press, and they have another one coming out here pretty quick on Amazon that keeps getting pushed back and delayed. And I keep having to say, yes, I still want the record. But Forget What You Know, Midtown, Until It Kills, Empty Like the Ocean, Give It Up was the single. I think Give It Up is in Spider-Man, I want to say. Yeah, I think it's on Spider-Man 3 or something or other, whatever 2006 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, God Is Dead. It's another huge song. I love that too. The whole song, it just flows together really, really well. That's the whole production of the record. It's a Butch Walker production. So it just sounds great, and they have a really good direction with it. But Midtown, For What You Know, love that. I haven't talked about this one, but Take Back Sunday, Where You Want to Be, the first record with Fred Mascherino. This is the best musically they had sounded up till this point, because Fred's a much better musician than what John Nolan was when John Nolan left the band and then Fred came in. With Matt Rubano, and Matt Rubano plays bass on this record, and he's also a much better bassist than Sean Cooper is. But the classic band is still great too. But anyway, so they made 2 records. They made this, and then they made Louder Now. Love both those records, but this record top to bottom is fucking great. It's on basic black or whatever. Actually, this is like $100 right now, I think. If I looked like maybe like a week or 2 ago or whatever, I think it's some money. But Set Faces of Stun was a big record. A Decade Into the Influence was another big record. I think that's the lead single. Photograph is Proof, another big one. New American Classic, all those. For my money, Decade Into the Influence is my favorite song on the record. So there's that. Postal Service, Give Up. This is 2003, I believe it was. Ben Gibbard from Death Cab and Jimmy, forget his last name, from Dentel. They made a record, sent each other demos through the mail. Thus, Postal Service, super cool, love it, front to back, just had on repeat forever. This is the double LP with the remixes on it, and Such Great Heights was the big song off this record. That song is in a lot of Fuse, MTV, Love Line bumpers, a lot of that stuff was that. So there's that. And then let's see, Fall of Troy, Manipulator, Mathcore, heavy. A lot of guitar work on here. Super sick. Vocals, screamy, clean. Taya actually fucking hates this shit and has hated it for the entire time that I've known him. You do, yeah. You say, why the fuck are we listening to this? Because like, yeah, I think you hate the combination of everything. So I think like it's not enough of anything for you to enjoy it. So because they do everything. So it's like, why? I think it's more like you pick a lane kind of thing. Like you do this, don't do this. Right?
Isn't Fall of Troy fucking isn't that Mars Volta? Aren't they the same guys?
No, At the Drive-In.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
also Handsome Mask.
The Mars Volta. they opened for the Chili Peppers one time.
Oh, you told me that. Yeah.
And that was
not a good time.
I didn't enjoy that.
But this is their second record. Love this band. I still love most of what they do. I gotten some new records since they got back together that I'm not super into, but it's still pretty good stuff. This is out of 500. It's a Hot Topic pressing. It's a splatter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I actually have. I had at one point 10 copies of this record. And then I've slowly sold them throughout the years. Because this is back when I've told you about this. So Hot Topic would do clearance sales a lot. And whoever ran that clearance sale just like would really want to get things out of a warehouse. So like they were still selling for money on the aftermarket, but they would find a box of something and need to get rid of it. So they'd post it for literally a cent.
Oh, they're pennying them out. Wow.
A penny. So I spent 10 cents on all copies of these records, all 10 of them, and I've sold them on average for like $120 a piece.
That's got to be a fucking mistake, because I know a lot of people that I watch a lot of those videos, like people buy clearance shit at Walmart and stuff for resellers and shit, and a lot of the penny shit they're not allowed to sell. It gets pennied out and it's marked to be destroyed.
Ooh.
So that's interesting. Like that sounds like a fucking mistake to me.
It could have been. I got a big box. This is like 8 years ago. I want to say 7-8 years ago. I got a big box to the apartment, and I was like, "What's this?" And then I looked it up. It's just a stack of these double LP trifold records. Like this is an insane presentation here. But like, I'll take this out of here. It's a trifold gatefold, and. So
that's fucking cool. Yeah.
It's all the artwork and everything else. And it's Tim Ward, their bassist, is who actually did all this. And he drew a lot of the artwork in this era. And also quadruple gate.
That's a quad fold.
Yeah. So just a bunch of stuff going on here.
That was a heavy box then.
Heavy box. Yeah. It was a huge box. Heavy one too at that. But so Fall of Troy, love it. And then last one that I'll do. So again, have talked about this record before, but we'll talk about it again now. Oh wait, I did pilf one. I pilfed the record I was going to talk about. So I'll do a new one. I did a new one. Against Me, new wave. So Against Me, they're a punk band. Prior to this, this is the major label debut. This is their most accessible they ever were. They got Spin Magazine's best record of 2006, I think it was, and they headlined Warped Tour. They opened up for Foo Fighters in this era. Like they were set to become a thing, and then things just didn't really work out that way. And White Cross is the next record. Didn't really capitalize on this as much as they probably should have. Butch Vig from Garbage, and he did Nevermind Nirvana. He's the one that actually produced this record. And yeah, I love this record to death. Super sick. Every song is super cool. And they had like 5 huge singles on this, at least among the scene, like 4 or 5 huge singles. So Against Me and New Wave. If I were to tell you to listen to songs here, Thrash Unreal was a big song. Piss of Vinegar, New Wave's a huge song too. Up the Cuts, another cool song. And then my personal favorite is Born on the FM Waves of the Heart. That is with Tegan Quinn from Tegan and Sarah. And it's a very cool duet. And love it to death. So there's that.
What did you mean you pilfed the record?
I also had Jimmy World Futures in here as well. But I've talked about the record twice, I think, in the countdowns we had here. And I don't need to do it again.
In 4 episodes.
Yeah, I don't need to do that again. So there's that. Funny. So yeah.
All right. I got one more. So we're gonna do one more, and then I got one I want to talk about, and then
okay,
shit,
love it.
All right, so I'm gonna add this Dragon Force Inhuman Rampage. This record got me into power metal. This is obviously a huge fucking record because Through the Fire and Flames, obviously with Guitar Hero.
Yes.
Taylor, who's mentioned before in the stream, had that video on his iPod in 10th grade.
I love it.
And I remember seeing that video. I think that was the first time I saw the band. And they're basically the band that got me into power metal. Absolutely love this record. I think this version I bought on tour. That tour I saw them with Killswitch at Mesa Amp. This was like the tour edition. It had like some extra songs and shit. And I think it had a DVD. And then this one, my mom bought me this at Walmart. So that was very cool. Mom contributed to my power metal love. And then this record, Sonic Firestorm, absolutely love too. I think she got me both these at the same time. So this is 04. I listen to this fucking record all the time. They're a band I don't really listen to anymore, honestly. I've listened to like these 2 records. And then Valley of the Damned, their first record, is an absolute banger for sure. This is the record that like the real power metal fans will still claim. They'll say Valley of the Damned is good, but I don't listen to fucking
everything else, whatever.
Inhuman Rampage. So yeah, I absolutely had to add them in there as kind of an honor.
Very, very of the time for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean they're still going today. I mean their last record was 2019. So they're still.
I just remember the shirts and shit. Like tons of kids wore those shirts. It was a happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you guys called them the Asian band, and 100%. They have one Asian in the band.
Yeah, but for us, they didn't know anything.
He's from the UK, so
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That's probably culturally insensitive or what have you. But we literally only knew them as the Asian metal band or the Asian band, the Asian guy, because they just showcased him in the video, and so that was we thought. So that's what.
Well, it was Herman. It was Herman, and Herman is the Asian, and then Sam, who's the other guitar player. So that they're a shred band. So the last one I want to bring up is Meteora. That's a high school record for you because it's 03 and it's one I listened to a lot in high school. So I just wanted to get your feel. Maybe we could bridge the gap here because we didn't have any doubles for each other.
Any crossovers, fair. Yeah. So Meteora, that's 03. So that's a tail end of elementary school going into middle school. That was definitely more of a middle school record for me. I remember when it came out because I used to watch all the MTV like drops and stuff, making the videos and everything else or whatever. So I remember that record came out, and obviously Linkin Park. Well, I think was Numb or Faint Or Breaking the Habit. What was the first single, you think?
It wasn't Breaking the Habit, because Breaking the Habit had a big making of video because it was the anime video.
Yes.
And I remember watching that. Like, I remember watching the premiere of it over at a friend's house.
Okay,
I imagine Faint was probably the first single, or maybe Somewhere I Belong. I don't, maybe Numb. Numb is the obvious one. It's a billion plays, but
yeah, I think let's see. Come on, man. There we go. So Meteora first lead single was Somewhere I Belong.
Oh, okay.
And then Faint, then Numb, From the Inside, then
Wow.
Breaking the Habit.
Interesting.
I don't remember From the Inside, but I'm sure I know what that song is.
Yeah, you do. I was the same
so
way, but I listened to this the other day and I remembered that song. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I still love the record. I included that in a couple class projects, the literary projects or whatever that I had to do. Yeah, but again, I just remember a friend of mine, Courtney. I've told you the story many times. From my Courtney on AIM, saying I feel numb, and we were 7th grade, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Like the song," and I'm like, "Oh." Okay, so that was it. That was the conversation I had. I think I signed off shortly thereafter. I don't remember, but yeah, I love Meteora too. I think I didn't go super deep in high school with Linkin Park, because that was after that was the Transformers records. I think that's what they're eloquently called, Minutes to Midnight, and whatever. Yeah, we've looked up before. All those records went fucking near diamond as well.
Gnarly, just gnarly sales, dude.
Yeah, like things that, so like you get in this weird bubble sometimes with yourself. Like, if I don't listen to Linkin Park anymore, no one does, you know? Like you get in that weird fucking, I don't know why, at least I do. I feel that way about like TV shows and shit, or like franchises of movies or something. If I'm no longer into it, they must have lost most people, right? Linkin Park maintained that fucking audience and new fans forever. It's insane. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it just got fucking bigger. But yeah, I would still kind of throw it in a high school record because I still jammed it a lot. It's a tight 36 minutes, so the boys knew what the fuck they were doing. In and out.
Made it for you, brother. They made it for you.
Exactly. So I figured maybe one just to kind of riff on. So
for sure. All the videos, Linkin Park was always good with other videos. All their videos were top tier, even from the beginning. Like Crawling in the Dark, or Crawling in the Dark. Crawling, yeah. Crawling was the first single, right? Because that was with the karate kind of like stuff or whatever. Because I remember watching that. Me and you have had this conversation at least 12 dozen times in our lives. But I remember because it premiered after Sunday Night Heat on MTV. I remember watching Sunday Night Heat, and they had stick around for the world premiere of the new song from a new band Linkin Park or whatever, Cole would say. And I watched it, and it was fucking the shit. It was the shit. And then they became the massive happening, around the entire globe.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because I wanted to get this, and I'm like, oh, the reissues that just came out like last year are not cheap.
Really?
So yeah, they're hundreds of dollars on Amazon, and then on Discogs, I'm looking right now, they're starting at like 60 plus.
I don't know if I have Meteora right now. I know I have 2 copies of
Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, there's a 2021 copy of Meteora. They did a blue one and then a black one, and they're both 60 plus.
I just have Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, wow. Meteora is not cheap. I guess one was a Record Store Day release. So
I do remember that, because I remember I went to Record Store that day. I went to a weird store that me and you have not gone to. I don't know if it exists anymore, but it's out in like Gilbert, maybe. And I went to that store, and they had a few copies, and I almost bought it because I was like, I'm already here, so might as well just whatever purchase it. And I didn't do it. And I guess now I'm not going to do it for a little while, because they got to repress it here at some point. This is what, 2006.
What's funny is they did a 2020 pressing, they did a 2021, they did a 2022.
Wow.
And the 2022, there's none for sale. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think they're all pretty expensive. So yeah, so that sucks. But anyways, guys, we've been rambling on 2.5 hours. Tyler, putting you on the spot here. What's the topic for next week's episode?
Okay.
Did you think about it?
What do you think? I don't do my job here.
I don't know.
So I know it kind of goes against what I just said like 10 minutes ago or whatever. I want things that you're super into that wouldn't necessarily people be surprised by. Not guilty pleasures necessarily. I don't think things you're embarrassed by, because I don't think you're embarrassed by anything. But the things that I think most people would be very shocked that you're into.
All right, so it's like shocking. Let me write this down. Shocking, like surprising
guilty
things.
Pleasure.
Surprising things.
Yeah, like I hate saying guilty pleasure, but it is like that's just the the fucking vernacular.
/ guilty pleasures. Okay. Yeah, I like it. That's a good topic.
So I think I have a good handful and a half of physical releases, and if I run into anything, we can just pull it up. But I think I have a good handful that I think that most folks don't know how into certain things I am. And like I like a lot of stuff, and I think I've put a lot of that out there already. But I'm super into a good handful of things I think most people would be shocked by.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really dabbled into any like poppy stuff at all.
Yeah, and you have a ton in that realm as well that I know about. So you got a few to pick from.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, that's it. If you made it this far, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe, hit the bell, leave comments down below. What were some records that you jammed in high school that you maybe still jam today, or maybe not? Who knows? But anyways, guys, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time on the Living Deadwax podcast. Peace.
Thanks, guys.